I thought the exact same thing. Yep. All right, we're live. I forgot to hit the live button earlier.
Oh, well, that's okay. Hello, all you fine lads and lassies out there in YouTube land. We're here finally. After a couple real life scenarios there in a row, and we're here.
Yep, finally back.
Got some books and some six gun, and we got all our RL stuff off our chest here the past half hour or so.
Yeah, I picked up.
We're good to go.
There's not a show and tell for me today. I've not really been able to. But I did yesterday go by. So this past weekend, let me step back once. This past weekend, we were in Raleigh doing something. Oh, we dropped Camden off at the airport. That's what it was. Because he went to New Orleans.
I was going to say, what Camden? Is it business or pleasure?
Oh, just for fun. Yeah. He and some friends from Spartanburg that he went to school with.
Cool.
They keep in touch. And so they had decided, they've been planning this for several months now.
Okay.
So, and so they went, they flew from Spurrier. He flew out of Raleigh or whatever. So we dropped them off, and then we went and grabbed lunch. And before we went and grabbed lunch, we were close to a comic shop that I used to have a pull list at that I used to go to all the time when, for 20 years. Oh, and it's just not close to the house, and it's not really convenient for me to go. And I hate that it's not, because I love the store. And really like all the people that work there, the guy who owns it, and all this other stuff. So anyway, so we pull in, and I notice one of the guy's cars is outside. So I was like, oh, okay, cool. Sequoia's here. Cool. So go inside, and he's there. Sequoia's worked there for 20 plus years, whatever.
Dude, nice.
He's got like 3 jobs, but, remains, one of those steadfast guys. There's another dude that's behind the counter pricing stuff that I don't recognize. And so I was like, oh, they get like a third or fourth guy in there working every so often.
Sure.
So I just sort of attributed to that. And there's another guy in there. So they were all kind of talking and whatnot. So I started looking around. I talked for a little bit, and just kind of called up for a second and kind of walked around. I'm like, I could definitely feel that something is different. Like the aisleway, it's a long, narrow store. Mm-hmm. So there's 2 walkways. There's like a new comic row on one side, and then there's a walkway, and in the middle of the store there's like tables back to back with long boxes for back issues and stuff. So you've got that walkway, and then you got a walkway on the other side. So anyway, usually those are sort of cluttered up with long boxes and stuff like that because they just have a lot of extra stuff. Okay. And it's always been the case. So anyway, those were gone. And I just happened to walk by the back room, and none of those, because the door is always open, nothing was in that room either. And that room used to be packed. There used to be like this little narrow walkway you could go through. So I was like, something's different here. So I walk up front, and by the time I get up there, John, who was the store manager, he comes in. And so all of us are kind of sitting there chatting. I went, oh, John is what? I said, what has happened? Where did all the crap go? That was on, and the guy behind the counter goes, oh, that would be my fault. No, I thought I was ready for some horror story. Mm-hmm. And so Sequoia and John were like, oh, Chris, it's been, you haven't been here in 3 or 4 months or more. I was like, it's probably been 6 months. And they were like, yeah. So 2 weekends ago, Ken, who's the guy who owned the store, he's an older guy. He's owned it, he had multiple stores. This was the last one of the locations. Been there for 25, 30 years. He retired. And so this guy, Tommy, bought the store from him, which is great because the store will continue to be there.
Right.
He's a young guy. He's, probably my age, a little bit younger, probably. And then Sequoia and John obviously going to be there and all this other stuff. So anyway, it's a real cool thing. So it sucks because I wanted to buy the store. I had always told Karen that was the store I wanted to buy, blah, blah, blah. I was not involved as much. So I'm just super happy that the store's still around. So I was like, okay, well, I'm gonna make a point now, to keep coming by the shop. So it's really only 15 minutes away from the office. So last night I was like, sweet, I'll just drive by there and go by there. Store was packed. Like I hadn't been there on a Wednesday in a long time. Like I would only go on the weekends. Super packed. I hadn't seen it that packed since I was there 20 years ago. So I was like, sweet. Now they're having growing pains and stuff like that just because new management, trying to learn the old management's way of doing things, those kind of things. But looks like the store is like super, getting organized and getting all.
What happened to all the back issues?
He took them home so he could go through them, price them, and then bring them back in.
Oh, so
he's going
to clean it up and.
Oh yeah.
Oh wow.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
So that's what keep in mind.
My fault. Okay.
Yeah. He was like, "Oh, that's me. I took everything home just to get it out of the store so we could walk around."
I can't imagine how much stuff that would be.
Oh, it was probably, no joke. I don't know for sure, but no joke, it had to have been 50 long boxes. I mean, 40, 50 long boxes, something like that. So he's been kind of going through a box or two every couple days, pulling out the good stuff, pricing it, and that's what he was doing. He'd just come back in, from the house, was pricing stuff up.
That's what what he's doing there behind the counter.
And he was pulling out he was pricing up like old Masters of Kung Fu stuff.
Oh, nice. Yes.
So it was some good stuff. So if you want to follow them on Instagram, just for kicks and giggles, it's Capital with an OL, Capital Comics of Raleigh. I follow them too. I just started following them on Instagram. I didn't know they even had social media. Apparently they've had that account for a while, just didn't really use it. Their stories are really where they do it, but they had put in some of their stories, some of those books that they had. So they're going to try and use that. They're going to try and, they have a Facebook page, Capital Comics of Raleigh too. Not doing a ton there, but, shipping lists and stuff like that. They're getting into the swing of things.
Right. They're getting there.
So
that's cool.
So I'm pretty excited about that. I'm going to try and, I'm gonna wait a little while, but I did tell him, I said, let me know if there's anything I can do, but I would like, because I know they have so many good back issues, that it would probably be good for them to use like Facebook Live or something like that to do like at least a weekly sale, every other week or something like that.
Yeah. What's up, Doug?
Hey, Doug, what's going on, man? We're doing well.
We're doing well, sir. Hope you are as well.
Just trying to get us caught up because it's been a while since Ed and I talked.
You should ask them if they want to sponsor a podcast. I
have thought about that, and I did tell them about the show. Like my wife laughed as soon as I got back in the car. She was like, "Did you tell them about the podcast?" Because I had told him about, I was a big, because he was asking, what am I into? And I said, well, I said really, I said, Spider-Man, Fantastic Four, Iron Man, stuff like that. And he was like, "Oh, you need some Golden Age books?" I'm like, "Whoa, let's slow down."
He's there.
Slow down.
Yeah,
but I did tell him, I said, "No, I said I'm really into boom books and everything like that." Because he had the ash can for Something Is Killing the not to bring all this around to Boom Studios
for 21.
For 21, yeah. So he had that ash can up.
Okay.
They have it up for $90. eBay, and he said he actually lowered the price the other day. eBay's got it going for, I've seen it going for as low, I think there are one or two sales for like $50. But I've seen them as high as, $100. So
I have problems.
Yeah. I told him I am definitely interested in the book, but there's no way. I didn't even tell Karen when I got in the car.
Right.
Like, there's no way I can justify it.
I'll follow, but it'll be a little while before I pull the trigger on that.
Yeah. So they've got a lot of. So he told me he's been finding a lot of Boom stuff in the boxes that he's been going through.
Okay.
So I told him, I said, pull them aside, for sure. I would definitely like to take a look at them.
Yeah, definitely.
Because I'm definitely trying to, collect as much as I can. I said I can't come in here and drop $1,000. So
right.
Don't expect that. But yeah, I could come in and spend a little bit of money every week and buy some back issues and stuff.
Ain't none but just really, really recent stuff should add up
Right.
that quickly. I mean,
Yeah.
the normal boom stuff from 3-4 years ago back,
Mhm.
that's $2 or $3 a book. And I
Yeah.
mean, if they're wanting more than that, then yeah, no thanks.
Yeah. Yeah, and I don't think that'll be the
So
case. I think really like you said, the newer stuff, like they
yeah, and
did have.
there's a couple titles, you know,
Yeah.
Something is Killing,
Yeah.
the King Arthur, maybe some of the Magic stuff, maybe some of the Power Rangers,
Yeah.
but it's not like long runs. It's just like an issue here or there or
Yeah.
stuff like that.
Yeah.
But yeah, otherwise all the well, and I
And
don't mean this how it sounds, but all the good stuff is going to be like $2 or $3 a pop.
oh yeah. Yeah.
The Mamos and the
Mhm.
stuff. So
So they have a lot. They've got a big wall of back issues, sort of the variant covers right above, because they have a couple tables up front. As soon as you walk in, this is all the new stuff that came out this week.
okay,
So you know
yeah,
exactly what it is.
that's good. Yeah,
It's got everything broken up into like Marvel, DC, and then everybody else.
okay,
And it's got all the trades and multiple, second and third printings and stuff like that. So it's got everything, magazines, whatever. So it's all set up there. And then above that or on the back of that is a wall, and it's all the variant covers and stuff like that they've gotten over the last few weeks, or whatever. And they rotate stuff out after it's been there for a while and stuff like that. So they do a good job of keeping it fresh. But yeah, they have a lot of Something is Killing 21 up there. I did message them today because I know Grimm's coming up, so I'm trying to make sure that, because we talked about possibly
Grimm,
getting some stuff here on
some
the show,
Alice stuff. Yep.
But I told him about Alice. We'll go into that with FOC. There's a couple of new Alice variants. So I don't know about you, but I want to make sure I pick up. And then there's something I think that's coming out next week. When we talk about that,
we'll get into that.
Yeah. So
don't spoil the fun.
Yeah. So all right, let's get things rolling here.
One more thing I noticed here, for anybody out there that's curious, this is not probably. Let's see. There we go. Is backwards, but this is supposed to be Usagi Yojimbo in kanji. That's supposed to be what that says. So
it's supposed to be. You haven't got it verified yet?
well, no. When I bought it, that's what I was told. I mean, it was from Stan.
Oh, okay, yeah.
I don't know. I don't read kanji. It could say "stupid American," and I wear it on my forehead. I'm at the mercy of somebody that says they know what it means, and I have to take them at their word.
It's kind of like my brother when he was younger. He went down to New Orleans and with a bunch of friends, they got a tattoo. Got a tattoo on his arm, and he's not even entirely sure what Southeast Asian dialect.
What
but
language?
He was told it means. I think he said it was supposed to mean strength or something like that. So he says, now he's joked about it too. So I don't know how serious he is that he's gotten it verified. But
okay. Well,
if you say so.
And I'm not necessarily the conspiratorial sort, but
sure, yeah.
I have to be honest. I have no idea what this says.
Yeah.
I don't even know that it's kanji. It's supposed to be.
Right.
I mean, being embroidered, it's got a different kind of look to it than the typical handwritten kanji does. So, but just my comparison online of stuff, it looks like it's kanji, but yeah,
it's cool.
Yeah, he doesn't offer very much stuff.
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
There's like 2 or 3 things a year that come up in his shop. So this is one of the more recent. I think this was like right before Christmas.
So his stuff tend to be like small, like limited runs.
Yeah.
So you got to jump quick.
Yeah.
Okay. That's what I thought.
Which is kind of frustrating. But I mean,
I'm sure.
There's good and there's bad, and but hey, it's his property. He can. His sandbox. I'm just invited in. So yeah, if I don't like it, I can always step out or So.
Yeah, my son follows a photographer and cinematographer who does other stuff with a lot of handmade stuff and everything. And they do very limited runs.
Yeah.
And so he gets, you can tell when he missed it.
Mm-hmm.
It's just like, dang it. So he actually got something the other day, which was good.
Cool. Okay.
So, but he's missed out on a bunch of things.
Yeah.
And so he's been very frustrated. So that's when you said that he doesn't do stuff very often. I was like, oh, it's probably a limited run too.
And it's not and it's not that it's pricey. You pay for it. But yeah, the thing is that you have to know when it's going to drop. And you have to be there waiting, because if you try to get it the next day, 12 hours the next day, no, it's gone. It's sold out. They will do Christmas ornaments and stuff like that. And it's like, I don't know, one Christmas ornament, they did 2. One this past Christmas was 500 pieces. That was it.
Oh, wow.
500, and you think, well, that's a lot of, and it's like, no, the Usagi fandom is quite a bit bigger than that. Just the rabbit keep up with everything.
Oh, sure. Yeah.
Much less the overall, but yeah, 500 is, and a Christmas ornament's cool.
Oh, so, yeah, definitely.
It's like 500. Come on, but yeah, that's what it was.
All right. So does my microphone sound better? I forgot to check it after you made a comment earlier.
Yes.
It was, and you were right. It was picking up. I've changed this twice today, and I've not rebooted my computer or anything like that. But for some reason, my input device keeps defaulting to my webcam.
Oh, yeah.
Or my sound bar underneath my monitor. So I don't have my webcam plugged in unless I do meetings and stuff. So when I plugged it in to do
defaulted
the show,
to it, right?
It defaulted to it. So that's why it was sounding the way it was. So okay.
But it definitely sounded like it was the microphone out there somewhere, not this one right here. Yeah.
Well, that's good.
Yeah, it sounded better. Me, I hope mine sounds okay.
Yours is
the only microphone I've got. So
so
only camera I've got. It's it's not as clear as yours. It's a little more yellow. But hey, Steven would appreciate this. I'm a low budget fanboy. So
there you go.
If Steven's out there tonight, I don't know if he is. He may be editing. He's been an editing fool lately.
He's been doing it. He's cranking them things out though.
Yep.
And then the two of you've got your Superman show.
Yeah, this past Monday, the first episode dropped, and hopefully we'll be able to keep a once a week schedule for that now moving forward. So I guess Monday is going to be the drop day. So
cool. Yeah, I've got that in my list to go back and listen to.
That one's long because.
Oh, is it? Okay.
Yeah, there's all the, well, why should we listen to you? Well, how did you get it? That's the way we all start podcasts. We do that. I think after that, you're looking at probably 20 to 25 minute episodes, because we're just talking about a golden age story, an episode. And those are, I don't know, 9 to 12 to 13 pages. So it's, that's, I think, going to be one of the cooler things about it, is that for those folks that aren't familiar with golden age stories, well, here in 20, 25 minutes, you can hear a couple guys talk about one, and that's your investment. I mean, if you listen in your car, that most people do that in a trip. The trip is at least 20, 25 minutes. So that's all you're investing to listen to some golden age Superman.
Listening to one of his episodes. It was the episode about Image's 30th anniversary.
Just another fanboy.
Yeah. So he played the trailer for the bumper for your Superman show. So I was like, oh yeah, that is coming out.
Yeah,
I couldn't remember when y'all said it was coming out. So I was like, okay, cool. Need to go and subscribe to that so I can.
Yeah, usually what we'll do is we record like you and I are doing on YouTube, but we do like 3 or 4 episodes.
Oh, okay.
And then the audio is 1 episode a week. So
gotcha. That's smart.
That's the plan, and we've done it for 2 recordings, so it's worked out so far.
That's good. All right, so 20 after. Let's go ahead and I guess officially get the show going.
Let's do it.
So we're at episode 36. Is that right?
36. I didn't write it down.
I have to go back and look real quick. It's been 2 weeks.
30. Yeah, 36.
Okay, that's what I put on the notes here. So all right,
cool. Here.
36. All right, cool.
Hey, we're going to have to start planning for that 100 here before too long.
What? Okay, do you happen to have that? Like, how far away are we? Like I don't even
7,
know.
8. This is 82 episodes, so it's 18 counting. Not this one, counting next week. It would theoretically be 18 weeks.
Okay.
So what is that? 4 or 5 months? 4.5 months, right? 16.
So we're season 3, episode 36, Legacy 82.
82. Yeah. Yeah. So we within the next 6 months, probably,
Okay.
given that the past couple weeks will happen again at some point.
Yeah. Well, and I can tell you the first week of May, I've got to go. We're going down to Florida to go pick up Grace.
Okay.
So we'll be going Wednesday, Thursday, Friday for that. So.
Okay.
So we may, like we normally do, try and squeeze it on Monday or something like that.
But yeah, so I'd say, projecting within the next 6 months. So that's by what, October, right? This is April. Oh, this is almost May.
Yeah,
Ooh, it's getting almost to where we would say maybe we'll get it in by the end of the year. Oh, dude. Okay. Yeah. But sometime
so
this
the
year.
question then becomes, and we probably need to start asking about this on the podcast is, do we keep with season 3, or do we start with season 4? Do we go with legacy number at that point?
Does it make a difference?
Does it make a difference to anybody?
Have you noticed with the episode 1s, is there more downloads? Well, then that's.
I feel like there's less downloads with the
every time we restart. It's a reason for people to kick off. It's like, okay,
thanks, guys. We're good. Appreciate it.
Yeah, so the Marvel DC philosophy of the number 1, it doesn't work with podcasts.
It doesn't work with podcasts, or at least with our podcast, it doesn't. So we may rethink that. So, but yeah. All right, so let's officially kick this thing off.
All right, let's do it.
3, 2, 1. Hey everybody, welcome back to Boom Addiction. This is episode number 36. I am one of your co-hosts, Chris Barton, and with me as always is Mr. Ed Moore. Ed, how are you, sir?
I am just fine. I am worn out from playing around the disc golf this evening, but I'm here.
You make me jealous, man. Oh
no, 10 over. That's
the shoulder. Update on the shoulder.
Okay.
Look at this. Well, only on YouTube can you see this. But full range of motion.
Nice.
I still have it catches every once in a while, like it caught this afternoon.
Have you been doing something, or is it just rest?
Deep pain. I have been doing stretching and heating pad and all this other stuff. I do go back to my doctor 1st of May after we get back from Florida. But just like one day, like one day it was like really bad. It was bad.
Right.
And I was just like, okay, well, we took a turn for the worst. I'm just going to have my heart attack and die now. And then like 2 days later, it was like nothing had ever happened. Wow. And it was the weirdest. It was the weirdest feeling. So disc golf might be in my future.
Well,
maybe. I mean, we're going to take it slow.
Move into it. Don't just get out there and start huck and drive.
Oh, no.
Do some putting and then some field work, approach shots.
And that's what we talked about. I was like, maybe because you had mentioned going out and buying like a movable basket put out in the yard or something like that. I've thought about doing that. I mean, my wife actually, she saw someone doing. She said, "Did you know you can make a disc golf basket with just a clothes hamper?" I'm like, I guess you could.
Anything that is open theoretically could be a
I've played on some very brand new courses that all they had was a post.
I was going to say back in the day, back in the day, that's what it was. It wasn't even a basket; it was just a target to aim for, and that's what we. Or not we, they. I was not around then, but
I play. There's 2 or 3 courses. I've always wanted to go back and play. One's in Yadkinville. It's right off of. I guess it's 321, but it's right off of the highway. And they were brand new. Just had the post. We played there. Nice. I think I played there half a dozen times, but they never got baskets. But they had real nice tees, nice concrete tees. And so they were building up to it, is what it was.
Yeah, I was going to say
there was a park that probably either didn't have the funding,
money issues
to do it. It's probably along those lines. So, and the baskets aren't cheap. But
the tees are important. So, I mean, if that's where they started, that's a major
Yeah, they had tees there, and they had little the course layout. In little. It was rough. It was like like a stick with like some plastic or like a hard plastic thing. But you knew where they were going with it,
and they'll go to that. They'll upgrade that and make it a permanent fixture on each hole if they are starting that from the beginning. Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah, and that was like I said, that was mid '90s. So that's
you should go there now and see.
It's
been
never
built
make
up
it
and
up. I
allowed
never
to
make
run
it up
down
to
by now.
Yadkinville. That's the problem. But yeah, I definitely next time I go to Boone,
well,
I'm gonna make a trip up there just to see.
Any place named Yadkinville deserves a visit. I mean, that's come on, that's
It's right there near the old North Wilkesboro racetrack.
Okay, and I'm not slamming Yadkinville either. I think that's a cool name. I've been by there before on a more major highway, which is probably the other side of Yadkinville,
like 77 or something.
Yeah,
like
from
that,
77.
probably.
Yeah. But it's like Yadkinville. That's a cool, yeah.
Passed by it every time I went back to college. So, let's see. So, wow, that's what you get, folks. All right. So, how do we do the show again? FOC is how we start the week.
At FOC, what's come out last week and probably the week before that, and next week, and
we'll do a couple of those things. So FOC, let's talk about that.
FOC.
Let me see if I can put this. There we go. Wow, look at that! Quickly did it. That's a first.
Okay, there we go.
So, it took a second for you. Sorry about that.
Yeah, those of you that are watching, pardon me as I scoot up because it's on the same laptop as the
super
camera.
tiny.
Yeah.
So these are FOC. Final orders are due on April 25th. Your comic shop may differ, might be earlier than that. So be sure to check with them.
Check with them. Yeah.
So these are all the Boom books that are coming out in a few weeks. But this is the last chance you'll get, and shops will get to increase their orders. So we have Alice Ever After, number 2 of 5. We have a cover A, cover B, and a cover D. And this is the FOC reveal cover.
Yeah, that D is what you're hankering for. That's a Hughes cover. So you're like, oh yeah.
Yeah, so this just got announced today. So I was super stoked for the show.
Yeah,
I did
not that that's not a bad cover either. I mean, that's
no, it's
wow.
It's pretty good. I did message Boom before they had updated Previews World because they had just had these two covers just to make sure if it was a ratio of this Hughes cover was going to be ratio, which would have totally made sense if it was.
Yeah.
So I'm sure that I'm sure there may be a ratio cover that's got, that's the Virgin cover with no logo.
Well, we need a C.
And there's got to be a C somewhere. So, and that's probably going to be the 1 in 10 or something to that effect.
I mean, if D is not a ratio.
Yeah, it's just an FOC reveal. So that's
A and B typically aren't ratios. There's got to be one in there somewhere, and there is a C at least. So that'll probably be a 1 in 10. Might be a 1 in 25, but usually they go 10 first. They built it up.
So that's good. And if you listen to the Boom Chat when Bree had Dan and what's the dude's name that's drawn it? I forget off the top of my head. But anyway, had the two of them on. One thing that Dan had said is that the art that he does, as far as like the Wonderland art that Dan provides, he was trying to get Adam Hughes to do it.
Yes,
I don't know if he ever actually asked him to do it, and just he's too expensive or just doesn't have it. I think he said he just didn't have the time to do it.
Right.
But having him do a cover, I really think that's just the next best thing.
Oh, well, absolutely, yeah. So he's involved.
Hopefully, he gets to do some more. That'd be fun.
That would be very fun if this turns into a series of minis that he's able to do. That would be kind of sweet. Yeah. We'd have a whole world here being built. Yeah, that'd be awesome.
So moving on, we've got Angel number 5/8. That's cover A there. Shocking not to see other covers, but that's at least an A cover. I'm sure there'll be more to come. Faithless, Volume 3, number 4 of 6. We've got cover A and then cover B on that one, which they're not going to show you because
Wow, they went adult with the B cover. So I guess that's probably going to be the only covers there will be for that.
That's usually what that series is. It's
A
the
and B.
polybagged. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah,
Okay.
they usually only have 2, maybe 3 covers. So, or at least that's just been the track record that I've seen.
Right.
So, House of Slaughter number 6. We've got an A, a B, and a C. A body bag variant by Hotz. This is Kyle Hotz, as far as I know. He's the only artist that I know, has the last name Hotz. So I'm hoping that's him. If it is, it'll be really interesting to see what he does because I don't know if you know his, or are you familiar with his style?
No, it doesn't bring anything to mind.
So he is, oh gosh, he does a lot. He's done a lot in the past. Done a lot of horror comics for Marvel. He did. I first knew his stuff or got introduced to his stuff with Malibu's Nightman or Ultraverse's Nightman. He did a bunch of covers for that and did some interior work on a number of those issues.
Back in the day, then Nightman, yeah.
So, but he's done. Marvel did when they introduced the Hood. If you remember, that villain, he did the miniseries for that.
Oh, okay. I remember the art on that. Yeah.
So I really dig his stuff. So anytime I see, especially if he does interior work, if he does that, I'm gonna pick it up. He's not done a whole lot lately that I'm aware of. Which, as soon as I saw this earlier today, I was like, I hope that's what that is, and not just like some other name or whatever.
Right.
So it'd be cool. So I don't know what it'll look like, but if that's Kyle Holtz, I am all on board. So okay, then Power Rangers number 19. There's a cover A, cover B, and then there's an FOC cover F. I don't know if you noticed this, and this cover right here will be one of those. So they're doing the charge to 100 with all the Power Ranger stuff. And so,
which is a news item.
Yes. And so what is interesting, and I didn't realize, I don't know why I missed this, but I noticed it when I picked up, I think it was Mighty Morphin 18. It was like 2 weeks ago.
Right.
When I picked that up, I saw this special, cover. It was a variant cover, like a legacy, because it's got issue 93. And so for this particular issue or these issues, they're going to be doing that. They're going to have a legacy number for Mighty Morphin Power Rangers.
Oh, okay.
Until you count down to episode or issue 100. So,
my question is, what books are involved in that?
So it's just Power Rangers and Mighty Morphin. Those are the only 2 books.
So it's not Saban, whatever.
No,
Power
sorry, it's only the Boom stuff.
There's been more than 100 books, though, is why I'm confused as to.
They did the first series that they did. I think went 50 issues or 51 issues or something to that effect. Okay. And then there was Go-Go Power Rangers,
right?
That was being printed during that time. But I forget how many issues that were. It does seem like Now that you say that out loud, maybe.
And here's the thing,
I'm a little confused myself. There should
anybody for Boom that listens to the show, why don't you drop us a list of what you consider so that we see what the 100 issues is? Just because we're
have to go back,
boys, and that's what we do. We, as soon as I saw, Road to 100, I'm like, 100. There's more than 100 books, and so I went to look, and I'm like, well, which ones count? So
that's good question. Yeah, because that was one thing. Yeah, I just sort of took it for granted. Didn't think about it, but you're right. I don't know if they can. You would think they would count Go-Go. I mean,
and we know that the 2 current are about the same number.
Right.
So they're both about 18. So that's 36, let's say.
And if you add 50, I mean, that's your 86. And they started doing this with issue technically 91.
Well, but wouldn't Go-Go put it over 100?
Yeah. Oh, yeah, definitely. Because I think
And
Go-Go had like at least 10 or 20 issues.
and annuals. There's some shattered
But
grid
yeah, and that's
stuff.
the other thing. It's
So it's like, cool, 100. What are the books? What if I want to sit down for your anniversary and
right.
read your 100 books? What are they?
So Go-Go had that's all the variant covers. I was like, because
It
it was
had a
like
million.
had 180 some issues.
Yeah, no, I thought
It had
Go-Go had like in the mid
32.
30s. Okay.
Yeah, it had 32 issues.
And I thought the other, whatever the title of that one was, you said 50. I thought it went in 70. Did it not
Uh,
go
I don't think it went
low
that
70s?
high.
Okay.
Let me pull it up here. It's right here in front of me. I just have to
Right.
filter
You
out
have to filter
all
out.
the
Yeah.
variant covers. Oh no, that's not going to give me what I want. But yeah, because this is just all the hardcover. Oh yeah, it was like 55 issues.
55. Okay.
Yeah,
Well, see, right there's 80 some
yeah.
between those two books. And we've got in the mid 30s between the two current books. That's over
Hmm.
100.
I'm not sure what they're considering then.
Exactly. So are they not considering Go-Go, but they are considering Mighty Morphin Power Rangers?
Might be. I don't
And
know.
then since aren't these two titles now, one is Mighty Morphin and the other is Power Rangers?
Right. Yeah.
Okay, so maybe that's what it is, because that first book was all of that, right?
Yeah.
Mighty Morphin
Yeah.
Power Rangers.
Yeah.
So maybe that's where they're counting, and for whatever reason, that Go-Go, maybe that's a different group, maybe it's a different era, maybe these
No,
other three
because it
books are the same.
worked. They were kind of like this. They were side by
Oh,
side.
I don't know. See, even more
Yeah.
so then. What is 100 books? What are you counting?
Yeah. We'll have to send a question up. Send the flare up.
Well, I mean, and I typically you see that because somebody in
Someone did the
marketing will
math.
know that they're going to ask us what books count, so we
Yeah.
need to have that list ready. But I haven't seen it dropped by anybody with Boom yet.
But I'm thinking your explanation of it just being Mighty Morphin Power Rangers,
Hmm.
and then that series being split into two, Mighty
Okay.
Morphin and that's where they're coming from.
Oh
Because
well, that would, yeah,
if it's 55, that's 55 issues.
right,
You've got, and then you add another, we'll say 18 and 18. That's 91 issues, and that's
right, yeah.
where
That's
that started. So
so
that's probably
okay,
what it is.
okay. Well, it'd be good if they said something, but
They may have in the press release, and we just missed
no, I didn't see it.
it.
I read the press release. I didn't see that. But enough of the speculating and
Yeah.
boom bashing. We have one more book here on FOC, and we are talking about the first issue of it tonight.
Yep.
That is Vampire Slayer. That's the title, not any other adjectives that you
Mm-mm.
want to put in there. Just, well, the Vampire Slayer.
Right. Yeah.
Issue 2, and we've got an A and a B cover, and the B blood red foil stamp variant looks really cool, and that vampire looks reminiscent of some movie's vampire, and I'm not sure who it was, but
Oh, that looks like Nofer. Oh, goodness. What was that?
Nosferatu.
Nosferatu. I always forget to put the S there. I always want to put
But
something
yeah,
else.
it doesn't look like a,
Yeah,
but well, it
and
kind
it's
of looks like the
Francesco
angel vampires.
Francavilla too.
Yeah, so it's rather artistically drawn,
Yes.
with some flexibility there, but certainly it looks vampirish, like
Yep.
needing blood vampirish too.
And I did pick up the foil, the blood red foil cover for one,
For one, okay,
which is another Francavilla
and you don't have it to
cover.
show to us.
It's sitting here on the desk.
Well, you said you weren't going to show any, so
Well, yeah. I mean, I
so
didn't. I mean, you can't really
come on,
tell.
Chris, flex.
I mean, can you see? Can you see the shiny?
I can't see anything because you've got the FOC on the thing. Is my
I'm sorry.
video frozen?
No, no,
Okay,
no. I'm showing here. Let's do this.
it's
Real
all
quick.
FOC. There we go.
There we go. So there's
Yeah,
the
now
shiny.
see, that's a different looking vampire than the other one was.
Well, right, but it's still the same artist, and
But that is pretty
that's what
sweet.
the red foil is supposed to be.
Yeah, I like
Yeah.
that.
So,
That's sweet.
and this is the foil variant. I saw that they have a regular one that didn't have the foil on it.
Nah, pick the
So,
yeah.
so I picked the right one. I feel. So,
Good
all
call.
right. So that's
Good call.
FOC. Again, books or orders are due on the 25th of April. Your shot may be a little earlier, so be sure to check that out and check that out with them, and be sure to get some orders in, get stuff on your pull list. So next week's books, you have them here. This is stuff that's coming out on the 27th of April. There's a lot going on. So we've got All New Firefly number 3 with 6 covers here. Berserker number 8, which I guess begins the final story arc.
Hey, that means that I'll get my next trade.
Yeah.
Cool beans.
So you need to show that. That's something that's cool. At least
Well, when I get it, I'll show it. Yeah.
So we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 variants on that, which is kind of neat. And I have enjoyed some of the variants. I don't know. There's always that one that I'm kind of like, I don't know. And it's always a different artist. So it's never as like they get like that one guy who like, they owe money to or something. Like, just let me do the cover, man. You can just take it off your tab.
Right,
whatever.
We'll consider it in kind.
Right. There's always just, it's like, it's always, I don't even want to look at these covers to point anybody out and see if there is one for 8. But for me, this, I don't know, there always seemed like there's that one I look at, I'm like, oh, that's cool. What is that?
What was that? Oh, boy. Somebody had no editorial on that one.
Somebody got called up like a day before it's due. Like, hey, we had somebody drop out.
We've got a slot, man. Can you put us together?
Can you help us out here? And it's very rough sketch. And then the inker's like, what am I supposed to do with this? Just ink. Just
really.
ink
what counts?
So Killer Affair of the State, number 3 of 6. We got 3 covers on that one.
You heard it here, guys. Chris throwing some shade, as the kids say. Throwing some shade.
If it was like one artist, then I probably wouldn't even said anything. But it just seems like, I don't know.
Yeah. Okay.
I now feel like I need to go back and look and just see if it actually is every issue.
It might be the same artist.
It might just be the same artist. That'd be horrible.
That's not that they had no time. That's their style.
That's probably. Okay, yeah. Killer Affair of the State, number 3. 3 covers on that one. Power Rangers Universe, number 5 of 6. There's 7 variants on that bad boy. And then Something's Killing the Children, number 22. There's 6 on that one. There's a regular, there's a die cut mask, there's a bloody mask, and then what is the Aaron Campbell one? Do we have a picture of that one?
Virgin Bear.
Oh, jeez. Look at that.
Oh, dude, that is yikes. Yeah.
And that's the 1 in 25, according to
hardcore.
Things from Another World.
So, okay, here.
Okay.
Excuse me, we've talked about this. 1 in 25, so you know the scarcity. Are you pulling the trigger at 2250? Is that outside the Chris range?
No, it's not. It would really depend on what else I bought that day.
Okay. So this isn't an automatic. Right now.
No.
Okay.
It's a sweet looking cover.
We'll put this right here for now. What else?
Right. Yeah.
Okay.
It definitely is one that I would like to have, and be able to come back and pick up, when I'm not spending $30 already.
Yeah, and the reason I ask is because 25, it's like, that 25 is about that line for me. Yeah. I'm like, do I really want it? What else am I getting that month? What can you do for me, if anything? So yeah, 25 is.
And so my local shop, when they pull the Boom books for me, I have told them on certain titles, Something is Killing, House of Slaughter, Once and Future, House, I think maybe it's just those 4, and Grimm for now, at least for the first issue. I've told them, pull all the variants.
Oh, okay.
You can. Not saying that they're going to have enough order, because they're not just going to order, hey, Chris wants the 1 in 50.
Right, yeah.
That kind of thing. It's always like whatever you got available. And I've told them that if you get the 1 in 10 or the 1 in 25 or or the one per store or whatever, and you're going to price it at 20 or $25 or below, go ahead and pull it for me.
Right.
No,
put it in my
I
stack.
will at least, I do want to buy it, and it might not be that week, but it will be within the next week or two.
Which is cool because basically you're asking for first look, and they're like,
yes,
okay, that's cool.
yeah, and I've not had a shop tell me no to that in the past. I don't know why you would. It's a definite sale. I mean,
Yeah,
I've never.
no matter when, it's going to sell.
So I've been lucky having comic shops. I mean, I've been doing that since since we've been doing the podcast. So and no one's ever argued with me. I have had some shops message me or send me an email and go, "Hey, look, we're thinking about putting this book up for like $30 or $40. Are you still interested?" And I'm
You're like,
"Nope."
you do that.
I immediately say no.
You go ahead.
Yeah.
I think we're going to get a 1 in 50 in. Okay, cool. Go ahead and
good for you.
Let somebody grab that. Don't put it in my stack.
And then the Jenny Frizen. Oh, this is just the one without
bloody
the mask on.
Yeah, the Bloody Virgin Jenny Frizen.
So this is the one.
Okay.
1 in 50. Yeah, see, that would be way out of my price range.
Yeah.
So that's just not.
Yeah, that's me.
Not
I'll look
anything
at it,
I would want to get.
Oh, you got one of those? Can I look at it?
Right.
Just so I can say I've seen it. I held it. I touched it.
Yeah. That's pretty. Thanks for letting me see that.
I appreciate that. Here you go. I know this guy here behind me. He'll get it.
Yeah. So I have cut way back on variants, but I do for those certain titles.
Mm-hmm.
I'll definitely get it. And Grimm, like I said, I definitely for our first issue, if it's and we've talked about this on the show before, I'm really big on the sort of supernatural stuff that Boom does.
Right.
So if they're going to have a book like that, like Grimm or something that's killing or whatever, what's in the future, those are ones that I hopefully will be invested in.
Okay.
Not just because we do the show or whatever like that, but like once in future, I've got a lot of investment because there's a lot of different aspects of that book that I really enjoy. So I try and collect as many of the variants as I can. Okay. And even the ones that are out of my price range at the time, I may find them down the road.
Right. At least you made note of, you'll recognize it if you see it again and whatever. Speaking of variants, that little drop about the Thor there on Twitter, that's true. I wasn't just jerking your chain. That's as far as the Jane Foster.
Oh yeah. The what if.
That what if is not considered by most, even though if you look at eBay, people are considering it, but it's like, no, most collectors will tell you no, because that's an alternate universe. That doesn't count.
Yeah, and that was one thing I was going to look up.
But yeah,
because
eBay,
I have heard that argument before. I don't have a dog in that fight.
Right.
But I totally agree with that.
We do doing a Thor podcast.
Yeah. Oh, that's true.
We bought all those. I've got them in there, and I'm like, yeah, it was $5 for me. How much is it for you?
Right.
Okay.
Yeah, for sure.
Well, let me tell you, it's not worth $50.
Like you spent a lot of money, and that was that
Go,
Mighty Thor?
Yeah, 2018. Jason Aaron. It's Jason Aaron's store.
2016.
Oh, was it 16? Okay.
Yeah, and the only reason I'm saying that is, well, she didn't first appear in that series. She was already in this. She appeared before then, didn't she?
No, that was that issue 1 is her first appearance as Thor.
Oh, interesting.
Because it all went down in that what was that mini series where Nick Fury became the Unseen? And,
Original Sin.
Yes.
Yep.
In the there was a 5-issue mini series about Thor and Loki. That's where Angela first came out as being Asgardian. But at the end of the regular series, that was also where Nick Fury whispered to Thor, and he went all ape poo all over the place. Yeah. And so at that time, I think he was in between books. He didn't have a book of his own.
Gotcha.
And then that happened. And then so the start of the next book was the continuation of that theme. And
Okay.
Freya decided that somebody needed to do it, and she kind of nudged Jane over that way, and it happened to work. Oh, spoilers.
Oh, yeah.
For 5 years ago, somebody else's book.
So, yeah.
Not trying to be a
and it's
male
not
organ
even,
about it. But.
Yeah, because that's not even, like, they refer to her, that what if, as Thordis.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And there was another appearance too. I forget what it was, where they did something weird with her and she ended up with Thor powers also. But that's also another alternate universe kind of thing. And so I don't know, was that a Spider-Man book or so? I forget where that was, but yeah. Okay, and people are trying to do whatever they can to try to get people to pay more money. And it's
for sure.
No, it doesn't work that way, guys. Come on.
Well, in the really okay, so Thor. I'm sorry, folks. I know this is a Boom podcast, but I get hyper focused on a thing.
Well, but you're doing that spec thing, so.
Yes and no, but it's like I'm looking at Key Collector, and so they have Thor #1 as her first appearance on the cover, but it isn't until Thor #2 that it's the first full appearance of Jane Foster.
Oh, okay. So there's
but they are
cameo versus full appearance,
right? And so they do consider it much like CGC or CBSG, whatever that other one is. They would consider, like you said, Thor #2 being the first appearance.
2, okay, yeah.
So
you're right. The first cover is 1.
Yeah,
but the first full would be 2.
But I totally get what you're saying, that folks use that what if. I've heard that argument in the past.
Yeah,
and I just kind of like, whatever, man, whatever.
What if? And I think if you check the records, I don't think a what if ever is considered a character's first appearance.
No, but
because
in
it's
recent
an alternate
specs
universe
and stuff like that, they try to do that.
Yeah,
like with the Gwenverse series that's out right now, the What If Miles Morales What If miniseries is out. And, you get a lot of new variants of characters. So people are going, oh, they're gonna if they show up in some show, that's their first appearance. Yeah, and I'm kind of the same way. Like, whatever. I don't like the characters out.
It's like, us old timers have been involved in the Hulk 181 conversation for years, and so
that is the really good thing about Boom stuff, is that I know when the first appearance of a character is, it's going to be in that series.
Yes,
I don't need to worry about and as much as I like crossover universes and characters and stuff like that, when done well, it's great. But I am very keen on, and Boom has really sort of helped me do that. I'm very keen on, give me just a series. Now, House of Slaughter and Something Is Killing, that's the first time that they've really expanded into a second title. But for the most part, you get these solid runs of, and I'm not talking about licensed characters. I'm talking about, original stuff, that it stays within its own book and you're good to go. And if you're
when was the first appearance? Issue 1,
right? Or it's like, when did this happen? What series is? Oh, it happened in that one series,
right? In their series.
So if you're looking to get the whole story, you can go pick up all the back issues, or you can pick up the trades or whatever, and you got it all there. And, and a lot of times, for like you and I, folks that have read comics like us for as long as we have, not like us, but for as long as we have, I feel like, sort of those shared universes are easier to read regardless of what's going on. We just have sort of been trained over time. That's how we read it. So folks that have been getting into comics over the last 10 or 15 years, a lot of them are trade oriented, or that sort of, sort of focused, storytelling. And
not only that, but people say about some of the longer running books for Marvel and DC, much as I am going to say about one of the books that we're going to talk about tonight. So I feel their pain in in a smaller way, but
well,
still,
let's go ahead and dive into that.
All right.
Yeah, let's go ahead and dive in.
The book. Okay. First, I will preface this by saying I am a many year comic book reader. And the vast majority of those years of reading comic books, I have read X books. So at this point, I don't have the issue with, where do I start? Well, I just got into this character or what. I went through those pains 20, 30 years ago, so I've got that down. So I think X-Men for Marvel is the perfect example of this. Okay, boom. The Vampire Slayer issue 1. Listed in it was 7 covers. I don't know if it was just 7, but there were at least 7, not counting store variants. This is the concept was created for us by Joss Whedon. Now I don't know how much he would have. I guess it's just the universe is what they're crediting here because
I think so. Yeah.
I can't imagine he had much input, if any, on this book.
Probably not. Yeah.
Does he even know that it? Yeah. Okay.
He gets the checks, maybe.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. It was written by Sarah Gailey, illustrated by Michael Shelfer, colored by Valentina Pinto with assists from Ricardo Giardina, lettered by Ed Dukeshire, and designed by Grace Park. Now, I watched the Buffy movie many moons ago. It's been a minute, as the kids say.
Right.
Since then, no, not really. I really don't know. I have a hard time picking out which one is Buffy, just to be very honest with you. Jumping into this book, I didn't know who these people were. And by the end of the book, there were 4 people in this one. They had all had names thrown out. And except in one case, I was sure who the name referenced to by who they were speaking with. So, I mean, of course you can tell that. There was one place that I made a mistake. But if it had not been for that, for me having to go through and pay attention to try to find the names of these, I don't know these people. I am, in one case, I am the target audience for this book. On the other hand, I am most obviously not, because I had issues knowing who these people were. Now, I say I am the target audience because I am not a normal Buffy person. This is an alter universe title. Well, who else is it designed for but somebody who is not, nose deep in the Buffyverse? Here's their introduction. We'll get them going with this alter stuff, and then we'll come back and say, oh, but we've got the long-running regular title too that you should jump into, and what transition and whatever. But yeah, I picked this up and I expected it, but there was a part of me that by the end of the book was just frustrated that I'm like, how am I supposed to know who these people are? Why after reading this one issue do I care? Because it was hard to even pick out names. And the names that I did pick out, they were only used like maybe once or twice in the whole book. So, I mean, you really had to work to pick it out. Now, I got Xander and Giles mixed up because of just the initial balloon was not indicated by anyone because it was a page with just text. So you couldn't necessarily tell who was talking. You had to kind of puzzle it through. But yeah, I was like, who's that? What is it? And it was only 4 people. So, anyways, our main characters. Let me hang on. Let me step down off of my. I am a noob soapbox here. Giles, Buffy, Willow, and Xander. Now, my take on it is that Buffy and Willow were very different in this alter universe. Chris, you would perhaps be able to address, were Giles and Xander really that different from their
no, not really
normal person? But yeah, I thought that Buffy and Willow must really be different by just the way it played out. So this opened in action. There's an attack on nameless town. They didn't tell us the name of the town. Did they?
Sunnydale. Yeah, they said.
Did they tell us Sunnydale?
Yeah, it's the very first page.
Oh, okay. My bad. Yeah.
You may have been more focused on the giant crab than the
Well,
sun.
and I know Sunnydale. One of the few things I do know. So yeah, yeah, a giant crab, but it's not a crab. It's like a crab deity or a crab god or something. He
Yeah,
said it's like it's not just a giant crab. And so they're trying to figure out how to get rid of it, how to kill it, and it's giant is like, yes, giant. Like at one point, they think about attacking the crab with crossbows, and it's like that the crab will not even notice what you're doing. It's so big.
yeah.
So I mean, it was a really big crab. Um, yeah, they get around that in a pretty cool way. The artifact that they use, I don't know that if that's ever been used somewhere else or has shown up somewhere else, if it's distinctive to this universe or not.
That one I don't know.
But there are some. Probably the biggest draw I think for really Buffy fans is to see the difference in the Buffy and Willow characters. Because, like I said, I think that those characters are being played in this very differently from at least what the main series was. Now, the Angel series, Chris, that you're going to talk about later, again, that's another Alterverse. So,
yeah.
But yeah, and as far as any difficulties keeping up with the people aside, it really wasn't all that detrimental not knowing the characters by name. I was easily able to follow the personalities and see where the frictions are going to be as far as the story and see the story develop based on the personalities of the people. Now, in my mind, or if I'm going to talk to somebody else about it, having the names is a good thing. But, I'll even say that a lot of times I read a lot of foreign books, whether they be European or Asian books. And I don't know if everybody does this, but boy, I have a hard time with names when they're not English, Anglo-American names, remembering who is who using foreign names. I really have a lot of difficulty keeping up with that. So, I've learned that don't necessarily rely on names because they don't always help you. So, I enjoyed it. I'll keep reading it. I think it's only going to be 4 issues, maybe 5 issues. I'll be interested to see this Buffy Willow thing play out and see who else. Is there anybody else in this version of Sunnydale, or are these the only 4 people all the way through? That'll be cool. Be less people for me to try to keep up with.
Be a very small Scooby group. Yep.
Well, yeah, like that Angel book. There's like
there's
3 times like 10 to 12 characters. Like
it
seems
like everybody who was ever on the Angels television series.
They're all in it. Yeah, so it's like, but yeah, this was interesting for me. Other than the one beef of I felt. And I say this kind of tongue in cheek because I don't know really how else to put it, but I felt kind of disrespected because it was assumed I was going to know who these people were. I felt, could be I'm taking it a little bit more personally than really what they intended. Perhaps Sarah Gailey is like, well, you don't need to know the names, just read my story. Right. And it's like, okay, I got you. I'll do that. So
and that's the thing with a licensed property. I mean, the art is very important for portraying these characters. How you're supposed to be able to recognize who they are. Now,
on model, is that what they say?
Yeah, something like that. So you need to be able to differentiate them. But if you're kind of new, I mean, like Angel for me is a series that I don't know all those characters. I recognize a few of them just because I've read enough of the comics that I recognize, like Cordelia and Alexander, stuff like. but there's still so many characters. But this was, I think, a good starting place for whatever this new universe is as far as the Vampire Slayer goes. Because if this is stemming out of sort of, the multiverse that they had been traveling through in the previous series, this could be, just another look at another Slayer,
So do you think that's what they're trying to do in that they introduced a multiverse? They're trying to...
I don't know what they're trying to do, which is fine for right now because we're at a first issue and it's transitioning from, well, I think transition may not even be transitioning from the previous years. Previous years may have just ended and this is what they decided to do with the next thing.
Right. Okay.
And, so, I think given a couple issues, we'll kind of get a better idea of that. Maybe even next issue, get an idea, is this, did they reboot the universe or is this just an alternate universe based off of that multiverse? So if that being the case, then yeah, I mean, you need to sort of slide characters around and have them have different roles and stuff like that. All of that was fine with me. I didn't really mind that. I mean, but I get what you're saying. If you're not, super familiar with these characters, they don't share each other's names all that often.
Right.
It's definitely, I would hope more than a handful of people understand this reference, but it's definitely not a Claremont way of writing. Treating every issue as someone's first.
Right. Yeah.
So it's, but that being said, I think the issue was fine. I actually felt bad for Buffy throughout the whole thing because it really treated her like she was an idiot.
She was a scrub for sure.
And again, it's one of those things where she's written specifically to be that way. So there's reasons for that character to be that way. Maybe, and again, the hope is as the series continues, or at least how the story arc ends, we'll figure out why that is, and she can't be as bad as she seems to be, but maybe she is. Maybe
she could be. Yeah,
maybe she's just literally the most incompetent person in the group.
Yep.
And if that is, that's fine. We've read enough of Buffy being the strongest one in the group.
Yeah, it's just a different take for this. Yeah.
The only weird thing is the choice of Willow being the Slayer, because Willow has, in my experience, Willow being the witch and all, she's had a very sort of, I forget what the term is, but not even wallflower. I was going to say wallflower, but it's not really that, but being sort of the bashful character in the beginning of the story. And as she gets more confident, she becomes this more and more, the stronger character and everything like that, which may be what we're seeing with Buffy. It may just be they've obviously literally switched places. They've switched names and looks, but that's it. Personalities, they're still staying in it. That may be the case. Who knows? I've always liked Willow, so it's nice seeing her sort of as the lead character. But at the same time, I don't feel she, at least in this issue, she is the lead character. It still feels like it's Buffy that's the lead character because we seem to focus a lot on her.
Maybe just towards the end, from the go get a weapon to the end of the story.
It's all Buffy,
but up until that point, Buffy was really not there.
Yeah.
It was between Willow and what's his name, Giles, the smart leader
Giles
kind of
dude. And that's the thing, Giles is Giles, so they didn't change him too much. Xander is still Xander, so he's fine. I mean, I'm interested in seeing where they go with it. I mean, it's definitely a very small cast, which is good. I think that's a good way to start off a new series, not to overwhelm anybody. Because they've already shown you that they're already spinning this on its head, so they don't want to overwhelm you with too many characters.
Yeah,
And
and all of them being different, and
So, but I did like the issue. I was a little. It took me a second. I thought there was a different artist that was supposed to, like, solicitations call out Irene Flores as the artist, but when we get to this issue, the actual printed issue, it says
No,
it's
sir.
Michael Scheffler. So I'm not sure why they switched artists, which is, I mean, whatever. That happens all the time.
Yep.
Um,
Well, but
so,
usually we're told,
well,
you
yeah,
know,
I guess.
as a lead up to it.
But so I haven't seen Flores's art. I can't remember. I know he's done some stuff at Marvel and stuff like that. So I'm not familiar enough with his art to go, oh, this is this compared to his style. So I don't know. The art was fine. It was good. I mean, he gets an opportunity to draw some really kind of crazy stuff, I'm sure, in the series, because we get vampires next, which you kind of need to have that. It is called Vampire Slayer. So, but it was kind of interesting that that's not what we led off with. We didn't lead off with that. We left with giant crab deity. So I think
buried the lead.
That was very unique, and I enjoyed that. But yeah, so we'll see. I'm not blown away by the first issue, but that's fine. Buffy never tends to blow me away with a lot of craziness. It's just I enjoy, or in the past I've enjoyed longer runs of it, and so that's really kind of what I look for. I want to see sort of how the story gets told over the series of issues. But if this is a mini series or this is only like a series of arcs or something like that, we only get to see these characters or these versions of these characters for a handful of issues.
Right.
You're not going to get that that space, but we'll see. It's not like I'm not going to pick up the next issue. So I kind of have some obligation because of the show, but also because I am curious.
Sure.
And you give me a first issue, I'm probably going to pick up the second one. So
now, along these lines, did you read Angel last week?
I did read Angel, and that's sort of the it's issue 4. It's the last part of this current arc, and this miniseries is 8 issues. So
okay,
I'm a little confused by why we're doing that. So this issue, Angel, created by Joss Whedon, obviously written by Christopher Cantwell. So big fan of Cantwell's. Illustrated by Daniel Bayliss, who I'm a big fan of. Colored by Patricio Delpesci. I want to say Delpesci, but it's not it. Assist by Maria Augusta Vallejo. Letter by Becca Carey. Designer is Grace Park. Did Grace do Angel as well? Or excuse me, Vampire Slayer as well?
Yes.
Okay. Grace getting some work in.
Yep.
So and then a few variant covers artists along the way. So I read it, and it sort of concluded this current arc where they're dealing with the whatever those stink creatures were that were using this opportunity of chaos to come in and try and run havoc through the city, as well as the demon that got out of the little house that had caused Angel to shrink.
The mini Angel. Right.
Yeah, so there's all that going on, and now there's the mist that's coming down, and so this is the issue that they deal with all of that. So as far as that goes, I mean, we had 3 issues to kind of get to this point, which felt like good world building, good character, stuff and everything like that. Lots of characters, but everybody I felt got, a decent amount of screen time. This issue was kind of that, but all right, let's get it done. I thought we had 8 issues. And so I was like, oh, this is going to be sort of this reoccurring, but just this ongoing story until we get to how it wraps up in issue 7 or 8 or whatever. This is, they kind of deal with everything in this issue. And so next issue is sort of, it's just going to be tomorrow, for them. But apparently, they'll get into to something else, and it's vampires. So
right. So it's like it's a longer story, but
yeah,
it's going to be 8 issues of
and
longer story.
it took me by surprise. But the more I kind of thought about it, I was like, all right. So I feel like we're getting possibly two miniseries in one.
Okay.
We're getting that ongoing series feel, but in 8 issues. Kind of.
So it's almost like a creature of the week kind of thing.
Yeah.
On comic book form, you get a couple.
Yeah, and I think Cantwell. I feel like with this issue, now I did feel like this issue felt a little rushed. Everything kind of concluded quickly.
To get the, okay.
Yeah, but at the same time, I felt like the previous 3 issues were building up to this, so it's not like we just got
right.
All right, we're done. But there was a lot of, like I said, a lot of characters on screen, a lot of dialogue being done, a lot of interaction, stuff like that. So there was definitely character building. And I appreciate that. I mean, Cantwell does a really good job of that, not just with this series, but every other series that I've read that he does. I mean, he's made me interested in Iron Man for the first time in a very long time, and I'm a big Iron Man fan. And so he's so I feel like this series has been pretty good. Art is I won't say cartoony, but it definitely has an exaggerated style that that I like with Angel.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't think I would when we were reading the first issue, and I was kind of surprised by it. And I just have continued to like it more with every issue. So I mean, it's the series has been good. I've enjoyed this more than I've enjoyed the previous Buffy series when I tried to get back into it. I liked it when it started, but just trying to read that multiverse stuff, I didn't. It was too much going on. But this series has a lot of characters too, so I still don't know who they all are. But I'm okay with that. I'll if I learn it, I'll learn them. If I don't, I don't. I'm not gonna sweat. It's kind of like me getting back into Magic. It was kind of like, oh well, I'm just gonna forget about stressing over it and trying to catch all the little Easter eggs and just read it.
Right.
So, and I kind of, I've done that with Angel, and it's been a lot of fun. So yeah, so we'll see what issue 5 brings for us.
All right. Speaking of Magic, Magic: The Hidden Planeswalker, issue number 1 of 5, coming at us here from writer Margaret Scott, who back in the olden times we interviewed on a previous show.
That's true.
Illustrated for us by Fabiana Mascolo, colored by Francesco Segala with assists from Gloria Martinelli, lettered by Ed Dukeshire, which the Vampire Slayer was also, and designed by Grace Park, which the Vampire Slayer and Angel was. So, Grace Park is being worked.
Yes.
So,
and doing some good books too.
Oh yeah. All right, so this issue, and I'm going to go ahead and go out on a limb and say probably this series, looks like it's going to focus on Liliana Vess, who is she is a planeswalker from Dominaria. Dominaria is planeswalkers are able to go from dimension to dimension. They're able to cross dimensional borders. Dominaria is one of those dimensions. That's her home dimension, but it's not where she's at now. She is teaching beginning necromancy at Strixhaven, which is on the Arcavios plane. And she is trying to hide. Now, she has made an appearance in the Magic series, but more importantly, she made a very direct appearance in the Magic: The Master of Metal one-shot. There was some scenes that were common between the 2 books. So, I mean, her appearance was that closely matched between the 2 books. The Masters of the Metal dealt with an entity named Tezzeret, who was the Metal Mage, which was the main focus of the Master of Metal one-shot. Now, he appears near the end of this issue as a protagonist for Liliana. We also have the appearance of a couple characters, Jace Bellerin and Ralzeric, and maybe Kea. But definitely those first two, who have been characters in the Magic series that is ongoing up to now. It's up to issue 15 or 16, something like that. So Liliana is she's kind of shrunk from. She has a history of wanting to conquer everything. She's a okay. Let's see. A planeswalker is a magic user. They're of the higher order of magic users, not just able to use magic, but her magic is strong enough that she can cross dimensional barriers. Now, she is not like god or deity level, which they also occur. And actually, this Tezzeret character is more along that line, but not quite. He also has similarities to just being a planeswalker, like other characters that will be named, but he has aspirations and motivation to be, like, in essence, the planewalker, which would almost make him of godlike power. And all of these levels are determined by power and the ability, not just the power that an individual has, but the amount of power they're able to tap into to wield, even though it might not be theirs. They know where the source is, and they can tap the source and do these profound things. That's kind of the level of Liliana. Hers is her specific discipline, though, is necromancy. For those of you that aren't familiar with this whole genre of creativity, we'll call it, necromancy is the ability to use the dead magically. Either you draw power from them, you can control them. That's typically what necromancers do. They are the bad guys that will have control armies of dead or undead. That's typically how the necromancy is portrayed. But also, you'll see it portrayed in the ability to derive, to drain the power from. They will raise dead creatures, and then they will suck them dry and use that power. So I don't know why that power going out isn't the same as the power they draw in, but it's how it works. I don't know. So Liliana, once upon a time, had these grand aspirations of doing all this stuff, and she trained and taught, and she betrayed her teacher and all of these kind of things. And to the extent that at the height of her power, she was covered in runes, and those runes would glow when she was in the prime of her power wielding. Something has happened, and it doesn't really go into it in this book, but she has decided to pull back. That's not what she wants anymore. So she's off in this quote unquote backwater, although it's a major university. How backwater could it be? That's like saying Cambridge is a backwater.
Right. Yeah.
But yeah, Harvard. Oh, I'm just at Harvard. Nobody will know. Okay. Teaching beginning necromancy. She gets visited by some people she knows. They beseech her for help. They throw out a couple other names of individuals involved that they think will be enough to motivate her to come out of quote unquote hiding to help. It works. She does. Some things happen. One of the other characters that was used as a fuel dies in the exchange. There is a being named Jace Bellerin. No, excuse me. Merit Lage or Lage. I don't Lage. Who knows how it's pronounced? Well, I don't mean who knows how it's pronounced. I don't know how it's pronounced. It could be different ways. This is one of these upper level almost deity kind of magic wielders. And she is involved. She was in, or well, I don't know that it's a she. I apologize. It was involved in this magic of the Master of Metal. The name was thrown out there for someone that Tezzeret was knowledgeable about. And now to me, it looks like that this entity is going to be more involved because what Liliana was asked to help with was to put down the releasing of Lage or the empowering of Lage or something along those lines that would make that entity more aware of what's going on. So I don't know that the entity is imprisoned in the Master of Metal. In this issue, you see where, because of Liliana, all of the attention of Lage is focused on one dimension that gets filled with the dead and is enticed maybe physically to this dimension, but then because of Liliana's machinations gets trapped in this dimension. I don't think that's going to be the last we see, because it looks like what's been happening is they have these side stories that they want to tell. They're not going to tell in the main book, but they're going to tell in these offshoot, whether it's one shots or miniseries. And so by the end of this issue, Liliana is doing all the typical things that somebody that gets drawn into something will go through. Should I not have? This is my chance to be the big dog that I missed before. Do I really want to be a big dog? Do I want to shrink back to what I was doing? A lot of character elements for this character in particular, with the addition of the Tezzeret character, who was, again, the main focus of the Master of Metal one-shot that came out a couple months ago, I think it was. So very interesting. Almost has me. I probably will go back and read all of the Magic books to just catch up with everything. It's interesting enough because I this one, even though I have written down 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 different names, it wasn't overwhelming as to who they were or what their part in at least this story was. I did go back and read the Master of Metal because it was referenced several times, and I knew this character was in that. So there were a couple other characters thrown out in that. But again, I didn't feel overwhelmed. I don't know, maybe because for as long as I've been reading comic books, I've read fantasy prose, and that's what this is. This is high fantasy. Magic users. Dimensions are a kind of a different kind of thing, but the magic users and the machinations of different levels of magic users, and I'm comfortable in those kind of worlds because of my prose reading. So maybe that helps me here. But yeah, maybe this weekend I'll go and catch up on Magic. I'm not too decided. I have 80 other reading projects that I want to do, so I'm,
You know how that gets.
Oh my goodness. I see a new one every week or two that I'm like, oh, add to my list. Yeah, I want to read that too. Yeah.
So I just want to say that the art in this book is gorgeous. Like, it is crazy good. It's got that sort of animated look to it that I just dig. The artist Fabiano Mascolo, like, I went to go like, that name sounds familiar, so I went to go look to see what else they've done. Now, the biggest thing as far as like the most work that I've seen is did the coloring for the Unkindness of Ravens. So so there's that.
I would almost bet that we've run into that name recently on a boom book, though.
Well, no, that's what that is. Unkindness Ravens is a boom book.
But we didn't talk about that.
Right, because that had ended right before we started doing the show. But that's that was a Dan.
That's it.
No, but also the colorist on Alice Ever After.
Okay.
Also, colorist on I think either the colorist or the artist on the Firefly miniseries.
Okay, so
the actual artist.
Okay.
For the brand new Verse miniseries. So
yeah,
but
I know
a lot
we
of
had been throwing out that name recently. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. So
interesting that they would both color and art, and it's like, well, and not coloring their own in that they can color.
Right.
So so okay.
But then having Segala's our coloring on it.
Oh yeah.
Is just like it. The first page alone looks like cells from a Disney movie, like a classic Disney movie.
Yeah.
Like Sleeping Beauty or something like that. I mean, it's so good looking.
What's the Japanese floating castle? Miyazaki. Looks like stills from a Miyazaki potentially. Kind of movie.
For sure, yeah. Just so good. So when you were talking, I went back and flipped through it several more times, and I was just like, "This book is so good looking."
Yeah,
I'm so happy it's a mini series.
The art. This would not be the art for Something Is Killing or Once in Future, but it fits perfectly into this high magic, dimension jumping battles of
for sure
of energy wielding. It fits in very well with that whole theme.
Yeah, big fan. So another book that came out. We're getting to the end. You can feel it. It's still in the air. 7 Secrets, number 16 came out. Yeah. So this is Tom Taylor joint, written by Tom Taylor, illustrated by Danielle De La Coolio, letter by Ed Dukeshire, I always said water by colored by Walter Monte. My brain just
maybe they use water. I don't know if they use water anymore to color.
Brain's fried. With a color assistance by Katia Ronali, and logo design Grace Park, and designer is Madison Goyette. So just wanted to kind of quickly touch base on this because it's the series is coming to an end on issue 18, so we've got 2 more issues for that. This was, we're building up to it until we get to the final page, and then I'm like, oh dear Lord, what are we gonna do now? So this is so at the last issue, Kanto and Amon have got the final secret. They've got the demon baby that is supposed to grow up and eventually kill Casper. And so Casper's vision is that he dies of a full-grown demon, not a demon baby. And so he's like, we've got time. We've got time. Things work differently in the fairy world, which is where we go to. And so Casper apparently grew up in the fairy world. He just vaguely remembers it. And so he's meeting up with, his mom and all of the keepers and everybody,
Is he a fairy, or was he just taken there?
Well, and they still haven't really explained that. Like,
is his mom a fairy?
Well, still not explained that either.
No.
So,
okay.
So in the first issue of the series, we are introduced to his mom and dad, who then have to make a decision once they know that she is pregnant with Casper, what to do, with him. Do they stay with the keeper, that kind of thing. So, and then his dad dies in the first issue.
Okay.
Spoiler, he doesn't die. He actually comes back many years later as one of the keepers.
What?
Yeah,
dead means dead.
Yeah, exactly. So anyway, so again, we're only 16 issues in. It's only 18 issues. Highly recommend to go check this series out. So everyone is going to the fairy world because everybody knows what to. Everybody's plans are in motion. So in order to make the baby demon grow up faster, the baby has to go into this cave of wonders kind of thing, and that the baby will time passes differently there, and so it'll grow up and whatnot. But in order to do so, there's a sacrifice that needs to be made.
A rice?
Yes, exactly.
Okay.
And so Kanto is like,
that was unplanned.
I will go in there to make sure that the baby is okay and that whatever. And the fairy, I forget what her name is, but the bad fairy is like, yeah, you're gonna do a little more than just sort of hang out with the kid. And so Amon, who has been our protagonist the entire time, is like, this is my journey. This is what I'm supposed to be doing. I was trying to tear down the keepers, expose the secrets. This is my responsibility. So he then goes into the cave with the child, and sort of that's where we leave the two of them for a while. And then the rest of the issue is kind of, or building up to we get to the end of the issue, is a lot of sort of Casper and family catching up and secrets being shared and stuff to that effect.
Okay.
And so everyone knows we're coming to the end. Like the characters in the story know, that Casper is the last secret. He's the seventh secret. But he's not sure what that means. And so that's something that he's trying to get his mom to explain and all this other stuff. Well, that's when not just Demon Baby shows up, but full grown Demon shows up. The demon and Amon has basically sacrificed himself to the demon so that they merge. And so there's giant Amon baby demon, creature thing. And so this is what the vision is. And spoiler, the very last page is the demon cutting Casper's head off. Just clean off. And so I went, what the frick? It's like,
okay, yeah.
So I'm pretty sure that's not the end of Casper. I'm almost 100% certain something, I don't know if we're going to get light coming from the neck, Highlander-esque, or
right, yeah,
we're going to get, something to that effect. But I think this is going to be the catalyst in which makes Casper evolve to his next form.
Yes, okay.
Go Power Rangers. Or
yes,
not Power Rangers. No,
Pokemon.
Yes.
So
that
next level.
That was my intent to go that direction, but we'll see.
Digimon.
Digimon, yes. So yeah, very much so. So I still love this book. It's so good. It's one of those things, even though by the time 18 gets out, have read the whole series, it is definitely going to be one that I'm going to go back and reread to see the little things that I may have missed. Mm-hmm. Tom Taylor is one of those writers who lays groundwork for all of his storytelling. And it may not be something huge or whatever, but I am kind of curious to go back and sort of reread that stuff. So yeah, I'm looking forward. I'm not looking forward to the series ending, but I am looking forward to seeing sort of how he concludes everything. So we'll see what 17 brings, and then sort of how they wrap it up with 18. I'm really hoping 18 is more of an epilogue thing,
right?
But we'll see. So.
Okay, well, cool. Yeah. All right, now I kind of pushed us into talking about the books before we talked about some news. Before we finish with our last Hyper Potato, I'm a double barrel shotgun gorilla. Boom. Okay, almost there. Almost there. Hyper
We're
Potato.
Almost there.
Give me a sec. Some premature bookulation we got into here. Yeah.
All right.
Sorry.
Hmm.
A couple
go
news
ahead and
items.
change that YouTube rating that we had on there.
There we go. Yeah. Let's see here. First, take a look at the Ignite Awards. There are some boom things up for it, and if I can get there quickly, it is a fiction award, but best comics team, Abbott 1973 is one of the, and I believe that's the only boom representative there. We also have some awards that folks might be a little bit more familiar with, as far as the Hugo Awards. A trade paperback for Boom was up, and bear with me while I get to that. Best graphic story or comic. Don't get me started with that wordage. Die Volume 4. No, that's Image. What am I doing, Ed? Here we go. Once and Future Volume 3.
That's what I thought. I was like, no, it's the other Karen Gillan book.
Yeah, sorry. Parliament of Magpies. Karen Gillan, Dan Mora, Tamara Bonvillain from Boom. And again, this is the Hugos are more not sequential art. I won't say just prose, but they're more heavily focused on non-sequential art forms. And so the fact that in the one category, Boom has an entrant that is pretty sweetness there. And I don't have it here, which is unfortunate for me, but there was some business moves too that was announced maybe last week. And I saw it not through a news brief or anything, but on the employment business boards there that we're both on, Chris.
Yes.
What is the name of that?
LinkedIn?
Yes. Boom announced it there. And that was the only place that I saw it. I hopped out and looked around and I didn't see any other announcements. So I thought that was kind of curious. I meant to have it, but apparently I do not. So I cannot. But there are more. I believe it was perhaps another marketing position.
I do know, and I don't think it's been officially announced yet, but I do know Nick Romo has started a new position at Boom as operations coordinator. So, and I've known Nick, at least on Twitter. I've known Nick for a very, very long time.
Okay.
He's a like a manager. I forgot what comic shop it is. I apologize, Nick, if you're listening. But he's been a manager comic shop for a long time. He and I talk about sales and stuff like that and everything a lot. So, but yeah, I know he's gotten. I think he started. Actually, I think he started Monday.
Was that on LinkedIn? Is that what
that was one of the positions I think was on LinkedIn. I don't think it was one of the more recent ones, but yeah, because I know. But yeah, they had quite a few of them listed. So.
Okay, so there's some news items that we neglected. Now, Doug, S, Hyper Potato, Steve, Peter, if you're listening. Excuse me, Stephen, Peter, if you're listening. Anyone else out there? Let's take a brief look at Six Gun Gorilla.
Woo-hoo.
And this is what a brief look looks like this.
That's it.
Okay,
right,
and we're done.
Right,
so if you want to email us, you can send that to...
Follow us on Twitter and Facebook. And
that is, the kids say, a joke. Yes, Six Gun Gorilla. 6 issues, written, arted, and created, illustrated, by Simon Spurrier and Jeff Stokely. Now, I have a question. Simon Spurrier, is that Cy Spurrier that everybody says now? Does he go by Cy?
He goes by both.
Oh, okay.
I've seen it, and there's tape ripping.
Yes,
I have seen him recently go by both. So,
okay. Yeah, I didn't know if that was an Owlsley kind of change or what, what kind of I don't want to offend anybody, but
I couldn't answer that question.
excuse me. Colors were by Andre May, letters by Steve Wands, and I don't have design written down. Why do I not have design written down? Was it because it was not given to us?
It was not given to us, at least in the first issue that I have open.
That may very well be, because then they went to the office positions here.
Yeah, because they and they may at the time, because again, keep in mind this is what 2013.
13, yeah.
They may not have actually had those positions. Because I know in the back of issue 6 there was a thank you to the All Stars.
Hey now, you're
and if I can pull that book out, I should have
get your game on from the boom pen. You mean?
So they have the All Stars here, which I'm assuming were
on the back
interns
cover.
and things of that nature. Yeah, All Star interns. Michelle Ankley is one of those All Stars.
Yes, so
we know her.
Yeah,
name.
maybe they did the
maybe
the
that's
grunt work of design.
Yes, so that was kind of where I was going with that. Maybe designer wasn't an actual position at the time.
So I commented, or perhaps miscommented. I don't know. I talked to my wife about a lot of the things that I do, as us married men want to do if we want to keep wives around for any period of time.
No, I don't talk to mine ever.
Oh yeah, okay. Mm-hmm.
No, that's not true.
And I don't think I misspoke, Chris. You can rein me in if I did.
Okay. When
I said that it's very possible that the gorilla was not real. Am I off base there?
No, you're right on the money.
Okay. Now, having said that, I don't know if it was the fact that I was trying to explain a story about a gorilla that was not real that was the issue, or just the fact that the main character in the story was not real. Somewhere along the way, Terry became very, very confused, and I could not clear up that confusion for her. Now, I say that in keeping in mind that I read all 6 issues of this, and I was never confused at all about whether he was real or not, or did it matter? I mean, and I guess that's what got me. It's like, well, he was there, but he wasn't real. No, he wasn't.
No, he was there.
Yeah. So it's I don't know. Maybe years and years of comic book reading and something like that didn't confuse me.
Just didn't phase you.
Yeah. But it certainly threw her for a loop when I was talking about the book. But so spoilers for those of you that have read this and maybe didn't realize that the gorilla wasn't real. He seemed very real, and maybe he was. Yeah. So, well, I'll let somebody else, decide one way or the other. I'm not gonna plant my flag on that hill.
It is for the reader to interpret.
Yeah. So
even though they clearly stated.
Or did they? No.
Or
never
did,
mind.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, it's a conspiracy. Chris and I talked about conspiracies before we pushed the record button.
Oh, so for sure.
We're in that mode, not necessarily related to this, but just So, Earth and another dimension, and they found a way to cross dimensions. The main constituency of Earth doesn't go to that other dimension. It's kind of the dreggy kind of settlers. Distinctly, I have nothing else to do people that go to the other dimension. Now, they have set up kind of a frontiers kind of mentality as far as eking out a living, eking out a life. But it seems that over time, and I don't think we really get into how much time this is, the things that these people do in the other dimension, the Earth dimension has become dependent on, primarily their production of edible things. The food apparently goes back to Earth and is very important at this point. But The people in the other dimension decide that they are not being treated fairly. They want to break away. The Earth is like, no, yeah, we don't like that. So there's some animosity there between the two groups, and so you have the rebels and the government, kind of a 1860s American kind of thing.
Yeah.
And this other dimension is very strikingly similar to our, or at least how we were led to believe the western portion of the United States was when it was first starting to be settled. Very dusty, sandy, dirty, storms, nature just going crazy, and a gorilla that's running around with 6 shooters on and a big dashiki. No, not a dashiki. What do they call it in South America? The big poncho thing that.
Oh yeah, the poncho.
Yeah, that you'll see the people sitting out under on the porch, sleeping, napping, but they're nice and cool because yeah, he's wearing one of those. He's got a hat on too, I believe, doesn't he?
He's
No,
very.
maybe not. Okay.
He's very Clint Eastwood.
Yeah, kind
Yeah,
of thing.
spaghetti
Yeah,
western kind of,
yeah,
but
yeah.
a giant gorilla. So.
And now the rules of physics over there in the other dimension are also different. So he is very much an interesting creature because wrong side. These things right here, they don't operate like our 6 shooters do here. So one of the bigger mysteries, besides who the heck he is how are you getting these things to work? Because that physics doesn't work there, which he does go on to explain. But um, right off the bat, that's I think one of the things that really um, adds to the mystique of the character as far as the soldiers from the Earth plane when they go over there and encounter this thing. It's like he's running around with 6 guns that work. Well, his works very well, and he um, a lot of battles, a lot of death and destruction, and it you see it, but it's not like the main point. Now, you do have the introduction of an Earth character. Many of the soldiers are conscripted from volunteers, volunteers of people who are told that if you go over there and fight, you probably won't come back. But if you do come back,
Right.
we will hook you up. If you come back, we'll hook. So the people who go really a lot of times they have nothing to lose, right?
Right.
So it's like their last shot. So you're talking about people probably from prisons and people that are terminally ill, and a lot of the uh, yeah. Now that I think about this is kind of harsh to say. A lot of the people in situations that get forgotten about uh,
Mhm.
nowadays, and by forgotten about, I mean they don't get the mainstream attention that everybody else does. And I don't want to go throwing out words, but we pay attention to the card. Well, not but we pay attention to the Kardashians and not to people who are on death's row
Right.
for reasons. And so those death row people and many other examples are who is being conscripted and going over there. Well, one of the people and something that you find out is that uh, which very much put me in mind of Mojo's World from the X books.
Yeah.
They go over the Earth people go over there, and they are rigged with the ability to send back video feeds of what is going on.
Mhm.
So it's almost like a sporting event, and as these major engagements are planned and executed by the Earth soldiers, that information is relayed visual and audio at a set time and a set date that can be consumed by the consumers in the US, not in the US, in the world. And it's sold by corporations, and it's got commercials by corporations, and you have to pay for it. And it's like the ultimate pay-per-views. Okay.
Oh yeah.
I'm a wrestling fan. I do pay-per-views. I used to be a mixed martial arts fan. I do pay-per-views. So, which actually AEW has a couple coming up, Chris.
I know.
They have one at the end of May, and they have a
And
New Japan
they have the
in
Forbidden Door.
June. Yes, yes. So there we go. We get to spend $50 twice.
Exactly.
Yeah, whatever. And so one of the soldiers is the transmitter. He's given an artificial eye
Yeah.
that has the camera works, whatever. And he doesn't, I don't think, necessarily know at the beginning, but he does come to realize it, and he starts using that as leverage a little bit later on in the story, because he has nothing to lose, everything to gain. He's from the Earth dimension, but ultimately he doesn't really side with the Earth dimension's politics, their philosophies. And the longer he's over there, the more so that becomes the case. And that's when he starts using his ability to transmit what's going on as leverage. Now, there is in the midst of all this, there is kind of a hero's quest that is thrust upon him. I thought that kind of fell away as being a thing for the story.
Well, it was self-imposed.
Okay.
And so that was sort of the struggle that the gorilla had with Blue, sort of in the first half of the series, was that every time something happened, once Blue realized, oh, now I have something to live for, something to prove, he sort of, put himself and made himself the story instead of the story being what was happening on the planet.
Okay.
And so he was trying to make it by himself, and so the gorilla had issues with that, and so it became a hero's quest because he made it a hero's quest.
Okay.
And once he sort of realized, no, I'm not the focus. It's what's happening to this planet, to the people here. Then it became something different.
Okay. Very distinctive artwork in my mind. Mm-hmm. That's what makes the series really stick in my mind. As far as the bigger picture or the more philosophical aspects of the story, I'll turn that over to you, and because I'm not necessarily good on stuff like that, admittedly. So there's a lot of things perhaps I missed, but I'm sure other than the rebels and the government, and there's a bigger picture that Spurrier was trying to illustrate for us. This way. Go ahead and take that, Chris, because I probably wouldn't do it justice.
As far as like what the bigger picture is, it was, you've got everyone on Earth who was indulging themselves watching this, watching, what's the word? What's the television show word for that? Real world stuff.
Not only that, but it was the violence in it, which we've seen used.
And what Blue discovers, and what everybody discovers outside of the government, because the government and the military already knew this was happening, maybe not the soldiers, but the leadership and everything did, was that all of it was scripted. It was definitely a reality show. That's what I think of. A reality show that was scripted, that had been sort of set in place, and no one really remembered when it had been set in place. At some point, much like you were saying, is that thanks, Doug. And Doug was like, "Yeah,
reality. That's the one." Yep.
So
it was reality war.
The initial thing was that to go there was for resources and things like that, and people settled there to do the mining and the harvest, everything that they needed for the resources and everything. And then it became there became conflict, and then leadership in both sides, both the rebels and the military, they were like, at some point, one of us is going to beat the other. but we're using this. The military was like, well, we're using this back home to film and make propaganda movies and television shows and stuff like that. And this live action reality show, we're monetizing this and making money through advertising and all this other stuff. And so the philosophical part of it, starts to become, at what point, does a human life in real world events, stop being, sort of that real event, and and it becomes, the leadership and the leaders controlling it, because we always talk, the conspiracy theories about who is really controlling what and all this other stuff. It's and again, maybe that's why, before we started doing the show, we were talking about, conspiracy theories and stuff like that. Maybe that's why that was on my mind, because I had sort of recapped myself on this series. But in doing so, like I said, Blue had sort of, gone on this hero's quest because he thought he needed to be the savior, and the gorilla, who again is or is not real. It's because of the planet and what the planet that they're on does to, like reality. There is some of it is real and some of it is psychic projection, for lack of a better term.
It's a construct of the planet, the dimension.
And so the native, creatures that live there do that.
They're very freaky too.
Yeah, and the design on them is really cool.
They're very freaky.
But very freaky. And so it's, so it becomes, a conversation, Blue having basically a conversation with his subconscious, is what the gorilla is. But the gorilla is not just his avatar or something like that. It is sort of the planet's avatar to communicate, because even after Blue's journey concludes, because we're not given 100% certainty. We can kind of tell if we feel that he blows up, but we're not entirely sure. And they make a very clear statement: no body was found, but did you think there was going to be a body found? That kind of thing. So, but there's still sightings of the gorilla, and there were sightings of the gorilla beforehand.
Right.
There's an explanation of why it's a gorilla, where his origins are from, the creator unknown thing. Trying to be vague about it without giving away everything about this miniseries, because I really do feel like you should read it. It's a fun book. And some of the philosophical stuff, you'll kind of come to your own conclusions and things like that. But what I took away from it was that, at some point, greed takes over. And so that's what the government was doing. That's what the military was doing. They were using sort of these sad people who had no hope, who were trying to go out with a bang, one last thing, and provide for their families, using them as cannon fodder to boost ratings. And Blue realized that I can use this to spread the truth about what's going on here. And he does. But the good thing about it is that he does not in trying to boost himself up and make himself feel better. He realizes, no, I need to be telling the story of the planet and the people that are here and all that. And so so does that create a revolution or something on Earth? Probably not. There's, that they don't really go into that with the series. I really feel like that's a whole lot more. Now, you do get to see some scenes of some folks that are doing things differently, but how widespread is that? You don't know.
Yeah.
That's not for Spurrier and Stokely to say out loud. That's for you to sort of interpret. And you can finish telling the story.
Wasn't the point of the book.
Right. So, but it's, if you look at it, if you try not to look at it from all of the philosophical looks at it, it's an entertaining story. It's an entertaining book. It's wild. It's crazy. The artwork is insane. The gore, as far as when the gorilla blows a hole the size of a basketball through, it's all of that's very every action sequence is very kinetic in this book. Stokely's art is just leans itself to that, and so you can enjoy it for that. Or if you want to add something to it, you can read a little more into it. And this is probably, I don't know, fifth or sixth time I read this miniseries. I haven't read it in many, many years, but it did sort of all come back to me as I kind of got into the second and the third issue. And the first issue I had completely blanked out on. I didn't even remember. I was like, am I reading the right miniseries? Just like, I know these covers. So, but anyway, it all kind of really started coming back to me second and third issue. But so by the time I got to the end, I was like, oh yeah. I totally recall everything.
And so, let's not forget that this a Six Gun Gorilla is a character that's been around since the 50s, I think.
Oh yeah, it was like,
I don't think it was 40s. I think it was sometime in the 50s.
I can't remember. But you're right.
Not barely this iteration. And actually, at the same time that this book was coming out, someone else was producing a series about Six Gun Gorilla based on public domain, because the character had actually fallen into public domain. And so I remember when this was coming out, someone else had picked up the character and was doing a mini series on it as well. They really didn't bear but just the cursory resemblance, a Six Gun Gorilla. Between the two. Spurrier, definitely took the concept and was just completely different with it.
And that was something I didn't realize until later. Like when we first read it, I don't remember us. We probably did talked about it being the public domain.
I don't think so.
Okay, so that was kind of new to me, and I just thought because they explained it in the book where the gorilla, at least the idea of the gorilla, comes from. And it's an old publication, Wizard Magazine, from I think this is saying 39, but that's not what I think they were talking about in this miniseries.
39. I didn't think it
was.
Well,
I think that's when the first issue of it came out. So maybe that's not where he showed up, the gorilla showed up. But yeah, I didn't realize it was a public domain character and all. So that sort of again, reality TV. This is a miniseries that's taking aspects of reality and putting it in there.
Right. Yeah.
So it was just a little nods, and so I'm sure the further you dive into this series, the more of those little things you can peel away and discover, and it just sort of makes every reading a little more interesting.
Depending on what you want to get out of it.
Yeah.
Do you want surface Gun Gorilla running around in the West shooting people? Got that. All the way to, do you want an almost metaphysical kind of Morrisonian kind of overarching? It's in there too. A little bit more difficult, at least for me, to find, but I see threads of it. And again, I've said before, I read comic books to escape. I don't read them to make me think. So it's not that I don't like books that make me think. It's that I turn that off. If there is something that they're trying to make me think, I say no, and I just read the pretty pictures, and because that's all I'm after. I don't want to be made to think.
So, for reference, this was Six Gun was published as a 15-part serial in the British story paper Wizard, not Wizard Magazine. It was just British story paper.
In the British Wizard. When does
so it says 1939.
Okay, I didn't think it was that old. Okay,
I remember it saying 40s or maybe 53 or something like that. I don't remember 39.
Yeah,
So I'm not sure where that comes from, but so it says, though published in 1939, the serial's copyright was never renewed in the United States, and 50 years have passed since then. So
39, 89.
Yeah. So In 2013, 2 comic book adaptations were released in the very same month. This miniseries been one. But a week before the first issue of this came out, Six Gun Gorilla Long Days of Vengeance was published. And I'm doing a quick Google search to see who published that. So I don't remember that.
Go to Lone Star
is
Comics and
well,
see
and
the
that's
title.
I did a quick thing on Amazon,
Okay.
and it comes up a book in Kindle, but it doesn't tell me the publisher. It's written by Brian Christgau and illustrated by Adrian Sabar, but there is no publisher listed.
Okay.
But there are a whole lot of. You remember way back then they were like, here, could you read a preview copy of this and give me a pull quote?
Yes.
There are a lot of pull quotes
Okay.
from Joe Lansdale, Ain't It Cool News, Comic Bastards, Nirvana, you guys. A lot of places that aren't around anymore. Comic Book Therapy. I wonder if that's Aaron Myers' old podcast, because he used to have one of those, some comic book or comic therapy or something like that. But yeah, so yeah, but it doesn't say the publisher, and it doesn't say any more than that.
Lone Star Comics only has the Boom 6-gun.
Yeah, so I'm not sure where this, but there's some preview pages on Amazon. I mean,
I distinctly remember it coming out.
Yeah, I didn't. Yeah, until just now, I didn't even know it even came. I mean, it looks interesting as far as the artwork and everything. Yeah, might be. There's a Kindle version of it, and I don't know if there's a hard copy. At least on. Oh, it looks like it was a Kickstarter. There is a Six Gun Long Days of Vengeance graphic novel.
Okay.
That was. We're spending way too much time. At least I am. Spent way too much time on this, but yeah, it looks like it was like a newer version of it. Yeah, because it was estimated delivery date is September 2020, but it doesn't say when the campaign started.
Right.
But they definitely got it backed because their goal is only $500. But yeah, 148 pages of pulp adventure.
Okay.
So might have to look. Yeah, and the pages on this are the ones I saw on Amazon. So yeah, maybe they just either finished it. Yeah, because it says issues is 1 through 6 is what the issues are.
Okay.
So yeah, cool stuff.
The Boom version also has a pen and ink for the first 2 issues.
Yes, I know.
Pen and ink. Goodness. This Stokely art in pen and ink and
Oh,
black and white, just pencils.
Sure.
Or pencils and ink. But yeah, it's one thing to see it colored, but yeah, it's a whole nother thing to see it in 11 by 17 as just black and white pages.
So I'm assuming you have this one. This is one I know I didn't pick up.
Yes, so. I managed to grab all of the pen and inks as they came out. So
still mad that Crimson one didn't come out, but that's all right.
Oh, that one. Oh yeah. So that's Six Gun Gorilla.
Yeah.
Doug, Hyper Potato, if you guys, Stephen, Peter, if you want to add anything else to this discussion, let us know, and we'll drop your thoughts and discuss them next time out. That's not a problem. Someone in particular, and I'm not going to mention names because I don't want to out anybody in this way, but someone that I know says that they remember reading it, but they were unmoved by it. It didn't leave a mark, and they were wanting to listen to our thoughts on it to see if it would help them, as it were, like it, or at least maybe figure out why they didn't, And I'm not necessarily sure what to say about something like that. I mean, we all like and don't like what we whichever. I don't know, maybe something about the art. Although I know that this person is a big fan of Daniel Warren Johnson's art, and Stokely is not that far removed from Daniel Warren Johnson as far as art. So it's a similar art. Spurrier, I'm pretty sure they've read other Spurrier stuff that they dug. I don't know, the setting. Maybe it was what Spurrier was trying to tell you that you just weren't receptive at that time or so, But I would honestly say give it another shot. Read it now where you are, because this is what 8 years ago, 2013. So
79.
we're kind of 8 years is enough to be kind of different people now.
Oh, for
Um,
sure. Yeah.
give it a shot and see if it makes any difference to you. If not, hey, that's cool. Absolutely no hard feelings. I hate that it doesn't work for you if it doesn't, but
Yeah.
um, I yeah, I definitely think anybody, it's worth a try. I wouldn't tell people just to pass it up and grab something else.
Right.
Pick
Yeah.
up an issue or two if you see it and give it a read, and if you like it, track down the rest. It's only 6. Don't worry about the pen and ink; those are very difficult to find, all of them, because they didn't make very many. Not
Yeah. Oh, yeah, for sure.
really enjoyed it. Great for me. I appreciate you guys. Oh, absolutely, Doug.
Oh, yeah.
So I appreciate you guys tuning in. So you had not read it before hearing us start to talk about it and set up that we were going to talk about it. That's cool that we mentioned something and you decided to pick it up and have enjoyed it. I won't speak for Chris, but that's kind of what I'm after by even spending all my time doing this, is just to get people to pick these books up and try it. I don't even, I'm not even all hardcore. Oh yeah, you'll like it. No, just give it a try. And if you don't, okay, but at least you tried it, and
No, you'll like it. No,
that's all.
that's no doubt. I'm gonna force you to like.
But there's Chris.
That's me.
That's the way he is. Yes, with
I
all
take.
his
I don't take.
conspiracies.
I don't take no for an answer.
Yep. But yeah, it's very fun. For me, it was very fun. A big ass gorilla running around in the West, dressed like a Mexican, South American bandito kind of
Mm-hmm.
big ass. You saw on the cover, big ass 6-shooters.
Yep.
And compared to a gorilla's hand, those are going to have to be pretty big. And they left a big ass mark too, whenever he hit somebody with them. So you've got blue, you've got dimension stuff, a lot of science fiction. You've got a little bit of love interest there, a little bit of real world with one of the girls in the new dimension who you find out has been uh, turning tricks, I guess, to make a living, is how you could put it. And she has a child, right? Didn't she have a child, Chris?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So you've got the hard luck story there a little bit, as well as any number of people coming over from Earth. They're all hard luck stories. That's kind of the whole point for that. So just a whole lot of different nuances that Spurrier kind of wove into this one overarching 6 issues. Art, coloring, lettering, all of it is on par. Nothing takes away from anything else, I don't think. So just a good, solid, fun series, which of course you can pretty much bet that that's what Chris and I feel about it, or we wouldn't have picked it to talk about. If we didn't like
definitely
it,
would have
it never would have come up. So yeah, that's so we try not to talk about things we don't like. There are other shows you can find that if that's, but yeah, now that's not to mean that everything. Probably me more so than Chris, but everything I read is not going to be like, oh, home run.
Oh, for sure. Yeah.
And I'm willing to admit when, no, it just missed. I don't know. I'm not going to say I hate it or it sucks or don't read it or whatever, but it just, for me, sometimes something is just like, meh.
Just doesn't hit the mark.
So, but this did.
Yep. I'm sure next episode we'll
gorilla with big 6 guns. I mean, come on.
Next episode we'll maybe have made a decision on what our next book is.
Maybe.
I guess it's your turn.
Is it?
I think 6 Guns. 6 Guns was my pick.
You picked 6 Gun? Okay, yeah. I'll look right. I'm gonna dig kind
of deep. I did
here.
Hacktivist, and then we did because then we did what was after Hacktivist? What did you pick the last time?
I don't know, man.
Oh my
Don't ask
gosh.
me to think.
I'm blanking out.
What?
Yeah, but you had one and then I picked 6 times. So yeah,
Okay.
yeah,
All right.
yeah.
Well, be prepared because I'm going to pick something. I bet I'm going to pick something that neither one of us has read. And
Pistol packing primates rule.
it's
a nice tongue
pistol.
twister.
Amen. Amen. I like the alliteration there. Hyper potato saying pistol packing primates. Peru. No, he didn't say Peru. I threw that in. Have you read all of Archaea? Is there a good chance if I pick something from Archaea that you haven't read it?
There's a possibility.
But not a really good chance because you've read a lot of it?
Well, I've read a lot of it, yeah.
Okay.
But
All right.
I'm always curious. There's always
Maybe
something I haven't read.
maybe I'll pick something from Kaboom or Boomtown or
Boomtown?
Yeah, you don't remember Boomtown?
Don't remember Boomtown.
Yeah, that was another.
Was that the kids one?
No, it was kind of the boom box before boom box,
okay.
but it was very short lived.
Yeah.
They didn't 3 or 4 things with that
Yeah.
moniker on it, and that's it. And then what was before Kaboom? Boom Kids, maybe, or something like that.
Something like that, yeah.
Oh,
But you got to keep in mind as far as Archaea goes. I have almost a full library of their hardcovers.
Right, yeah, that's what I figured. Maybe
but I don't have like a lot of the Oko stuff. I don't have a lot of the
okay. Oko was good. Now I got that. So
the history of I forget what the title of that book was.
I remember
history.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't have all of those, those volumes and stuff.
Maybe Muppets. Do you have Muppets?
I don't have all the Muppet stuff. I do have a decent amount of it, but I don't have all of it.
Okay. Okay, I'll think about it. I want to pick
we
something.
Can go back and do.
Neither one of us has read. No, I've read Mouse
We'll
Guard
just
multiple
gush over
times. Oh yeah, absolutely. We'll just sit here and hold up his art. Oh, look at this. Oh wow, look. Yeah.
I'm not even going to tell you the story. It's just.
No, there's nothing to say. Look, what can you say? Yeah.
We'll do a reenactment.
So, I so want him to put new stuff out, but I understand.
For sure.
The Weasel War is what it's supposed to be named.
Did you pick up the limited edition prints that he had for sale maybe a week ago?
No, I don't do prints because I don't have anywhere to put them up. So
that was kind of why
there's no point for me to do that. Yeah,
the price on was so good.
Oh, good. See, I didn't even. Yeah. If I can't display it, that's like original art and stuff like that at cons. I've gotten stuff and I have enough. There's no reason to get more. Yeah. Although I'm sure someone here in the next room asleep could say that about like every comic book I have.
Everything.
Yeah. You have plenty. Do you need more? Yes, I do.
Yes, always.
I don't have this one. Are you going to read it? I don't know, but I don't have it.
So, all right, let's wrap this bad boy.
All right,
anything else before we get out of here?
No, sir.
All right, so everybody, thank you for listening. You can come by the website, comicaddiction.net or boomaddiction.com. Same site, different doors that you can come into. Come by that way. You can catch us on Facebook. Search for Fans of Boom Studios. You can find us all there. Join the community there. You can definitely find us on Twitter. That's the best place to get up with Ed and I. Follow the site, the podcast and the site at Boom Addiction. You can follow Ed at Teal Productions. You can follow me at Chris Parton. You can email the show, and I checked right before we did the show. No one has emailed us. That's fine. We're going to keep it open.
Come on, somebody email us. Come on.
So you can email us at boomaddiction@gmail.com. Obviously, come by the YouTube channel and subscribe there if you're watching us live. You have an opportunity. So we got some folks in the chat, which is always cool. We do record every Thursday night at 9 p.m. That is the goal. When we don't do it on Thursday nights, we then shoot it for Monday at 9. But if we ever switch that for whatever scheduling issue, we will be sure to put it out on Twitter as quickly as we can.
Yeah.
So that's another. If you're not following Ed and I on Twitter, at least following the show, you'll know it there. We'll retweet it as well. So, but yeah, we normally record do the live show 9 p.m. Eastern Standard on Thursdays. So come by and join the chat that way. If we do, and I haven't said this to Ed, but Ed knows how crazy I get sometimes. If we do get more people, and I'm talking, more, it's an ambiguous number.
400 or 500.
No, not even that. If we get, a couple dozen, a dozen or two of folks who regularly watch us and stuff like that, might start doing some giveaway.
There it was. There's
the C word. How I love my contests. Yeah, so I might do something. I don't know. I've got plenty of books I can give away, so that's
of course when that happens, then we'll start having to drop ads that say Thursday.
Oh God, no. We'll see if Steven can do. We'll see if we can hire him to do some bumpers. He's really good at that.
Him or Gary or Norman.
For sure,
yeah.
Get the whole crew in there,
no doubt.
So, but yeah, just something something to entice all of you fine folks to come in.
Cool.
And whatnot. Because I do think the chat's cool to have. I think interacting with us is cool, but definitely interacting with one another is also something that.
Well, that's kind of why we wanted to bring it over here to YouTube is to be able to do that kind of stuff. So yeah.
But we still have our audio version of the show that we always get out.
Podcast rule.
That
absolutely.
Is usually found on Spotify or iHeartRadio or Stitcher or any of those Apple Podcasts, whatever it's called now.
Google Play.
Google Play
whatever.
Thing. So all of those places you listen to podcasts, hopefully you'll be able to check out the show. If you have a podcast player of some kind that doesn't have us on the show or have us listed, let me know and I'll figure out how to fix that. So
we will shoot you the RSS feed and you can put it in yourself. You can go old school and just bypass all these the man.
Rules,
you don't need the man telling you when you can listen.
Exactly.
Grab the RSS feed. You can listen anytime you want.
I think that's it. I think that's
guerrilla podcasting.
Oh yeah, for sure. And the other with the UI. I think that's it. I think that's all the things. Yeah. So again, everybody, this is episode 36. 37. We're on the road to Legacy 100.
The road to 100. Not to steal that from anybody.
We'll say that. But thanks everybody for listening. Ed, as always, thank you, sir, for joining me.
Yes, sir.
And we will catch all of you next week. Goodbye.
Ciao.
The road to 100. Hey, it's still a very long road.
But it works. It applies to us as well.
The road to 500.
You can't
the
trademark
road to 100.
Yeah.
The road to something or another.
Now, saying something like that, I know that just a couple years ago or whenever it was, they passed their 10-year anniversary. I wonder if anybody knows what their 1 millionth book published will be or something like that. That would be something cool to know.
That'd be really hard to calculate.
Well, not if you had access to the information. You would.
No, not at all. It would still take an intern at least a day or two to figure that out.
Yeah. I mean, we could go to Wikipedia. It's pretty accurate as far as a listing of books from all.
We could do pick a date. I mean, even if you use by comic shop, you could use pick a date and go, all right, tell me everything that was published prior to today.
Yeah.
And then you could at least get a number, and then
we would have to verify how many issues certain things had, and it would get weird too with things like Archaea because
for sure.
Part of it would be individual issues, but then the rest would be a hardcover, and so But yeah, that would be something curious to know.
1 million. Geez.
Well, would you say that they've put out more than 100,000 by this point? Individual issues of whatever size.
I mean, it's 15 plus years, so
yeah.
I mean, it's not that they published a ton of books in the first 4 or 5 years, but
right.
But and they've actually cut back their every year they've cut back like 10% for the last couple of years since the pandemic. So,
250.
so they're not putting out. I mean, they're putting out 3 or 4 books a week.
Yeah, that would be 520 books a week.
Yeah.
No,
So
they haven't even hit 100,000.
Yeah.
So 50,000 would be 260 books a
Now,
week.
and
So
if
I
you're
guess
talking about actual individual issues,
yes.
like issue 1, if you start counting in like variant covers,
No, just
there's
individual published books. 10,000? They might have done 10,000
Oh,
by
for
now.
sure. Yeah.
But,
Yeah, because I wouldn't want to try and collect 100,000 books right now. That's not a thing I would want.
That's like Marvel and DC size.
Right. Yeah, but
maybe
10,000 is, you say 10,000, that seems a lot more achievable.
Yeah, it's definitely trackable and
Yeah.
you know, that's something that you could try to do.
Might have to do one of those. I might have to get on Mike's Amazing World of Comics and download his Excel spreadsheet, because I know he's got some Boom stuff on it in the independent section.
Right.
I don't know how updated that is, but that would be. But I know how I have manipulated that Excel spreadsheet many times in the past to do my own stuff.
You mean for image?
For image, yeah. When I was doing image stuff, and so yeah, so I could probably do that and use that to get a rough number of what it is. So just and again, depending on how updated it is. I mean, because if he last updated the Independence, back in 2015, that's good, rough.
But, we could have asked Mel once upon a time. He could have pointed us in some.
He could have got us close. Yeah,
some good information. Yeah, I don't know.
I don't know if Ryan's got access to that kind of stuff. I don't know if they keep up with that kind of stuff. I mean,
but well, because it involves money, I would think somebody has to.
Somebody
because
sales,
you have to pay to have them printed, right? So you would know each individual book would be a batch, and you would have that all the way back to the beginning of time because it's financial. So now correlating something like, or not correlating, what's the word? Pulling it all together.
Yeah.
Correlate? No, not correlate. Whatever that word is. It's a C word. That would definitely be an intern's job, because that
coronary is what you'd have to do it.
That would be true grunt work there, manipulating that, pulling, extracting bits.
Exactly. All right, it is 11:30 my time. I need to head off because I have barking dog downstairs. He's kind of quiet now, but Karen was like losing her mind a minute ago.
Oh, he was going off there for a little while.
Yeah. So if y'all
go
listening to the show,
guy,
he my dog is very old, but he's very feisty. He sleeps during the day, but he also knows in the evening I should be sitting on the couch right near him. He doesn't sit on the couch, but he sits at my feet.
Hey, it's called loyalty.
Sure, he's a
it's called loyalty. That's what we appreciate in dogs, because cats don't have that. No.
And you face that all the time.
I have 2 of those. No loyalty at all.
But yeah, so I got to run downstairs and make sure it's quiet. So, but yeah, everybody who's in the chat, thanks for listening and being part of the chat. And hopefully you guys will be here next week. And when you do show up, just be sure to say, hey, I'm here. Unless you want to lurk, that's cool. I don't want to pressure anybody to make a statement or whatever.
So you're good potentially for next week, but not the week after that.
For sure. 2 through 6. I am definitely good for the 28th. I think I have finally, after this 2 weeks, figured out kind of how to manipulate my schedule to where Thursdays are good.
Okay.
And then, I will be out of town the 4th, 5th, and 6th.
Okay.
So we can reschedule it for the following Monday and do 2 shows that week on the 2nd, or excuse me, on the 9th and the 12th, if you want. I don't know what the books look like that.
Yeah. And we only have 4 weeks in May.
Yes.
The way the numbers fall, that last is not a full week. So, okay, I'll put some thought into by next Thursday what our next old book will be.
Sounds like a plan.
I'll pull out
Surprise
something interesting. Yes, I'll pull out something interesting.
That's what I'm looking forward to.
I'll try to find something that you didn't even know was there.
Oh, that'd be sweet.
I'll go obscure.